Sports.
We are Buffalo. We are Wisconsin.
It's a beautiful Friday night in the city of Milwaukee as we welcome you to Miller Park for Brewers baseball. They are set to take on the Washington Nationals in the first of a three-game series. Tom Gorzelany and Jordan Zimmermann on the mound. An intriguing matchup. Zimmermann, a Wisconsin native. Tom Gorzelany, his old club, the Washington Nationals. We'll see if he's got a little extra juice going up against his old teammates here tonight. We've got the Robin Yount ceremony coming up in just a couple of moments. So, well, I'm Craig Kashan. He's Davey Nelson. We're going to talk about Tom Gorzelany here because against the NL East, he's got Cy Young type numbers, and you got to like that going up against an NL East opponent tonight.
Well, that's right, and even better going up against his former team. So he should know these guys, their strengths and weaknesses. But Tom Gorzelany, whether it's the way his delivery or whatever, the deception, he has done outstanding against the NL East, and which was one of the tougher divisions.
And those numbers against the rest of the league, not too bad either. Speaking of not too bad, Jonathan Lucroy is on a tear right now. The Brewer catcher really slugging the baseball. Dan Rock will talk about that when we come back to Miller Park.
He's down there with Logan Schaefer getting ready for baseball tonight. The Brewers and the Washington Nationals. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us. And we turn the page to August now, and the Brewers are finally back home for a quick three-game homestand against the Nationals, and Jonathan Lucroy has been the story for the Brewers in the month of July.
And he has a chance to be the player of the month in the month of July for the National League, but he has been consistent all month. Matter of fact, he's had a very good couple of months, but you can see what he did in the month of July. 333 batting average, 7 home runs, 15 RBIs. Certainly a candidate for that Player of the Month award. All the damage that he's been able to do with so many guys on the disabled list, when you compare him to what he's been able to do amongst catchers in the big leagues,
going by month to month. I mean, you look at the slugging percentage for Lucroy. Only Santana has a higher one. Not only the batting average for Lucroy, but he's driving the baseball and using the whole field.
But his 7 home runs still too shy of Bill Schroeder's great month way back in yesteryear. Speaking of yesteryear, Robin Yount is here tonight, the 20th anniversary of his number retirement ceremony. We're going to do it all over again. It's going to be great to see the kid. We'll have that ceremony when we come back. It's all set up. A ceremony is about to happen. Robin Yount is here. Also Hank Aaron. And the Brewers are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the retirement ceremony of Robin Yount. His number was retired in 1994. And we will turn it over to Bob Uecker, who has a few words.
And thank you, baseball fans, for joining us tonight as we remember some of the achievements of one of the great players in Milwaukee baseball history. He's a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, known to us affectionately as the Kid. I'm talking about Robin Yount. We ask you to turn your attention to the video board in center field for some highlights from a very special time in Brewers history.
A lifer in Milwaukee, Robin Yount spent his entire 20-year career with the Brewers organization after breaking into the majors at age 18. Yount won the first of 2 Most Valuable Player awards in 1982. The same year, the Brewers won the American League Championship. That year, he batted .331 with a career-high 210 hits and a career-high 29 home runs. He won the award again in 1989. The Kid was a 3-time All-Star and Silver Slugger.
Makes a great catch, and Juan Diaz has thrown the first no-hitter in Milwaukee Brewer history. A great game-ending catch by Robin Yount.
pitch. Swings, and there it is! A base hit into right center. He's done it. 3,000 for Robin.
Yount had his number 19 retired at County Stadium on May 29, 1994. Robin also became the first player to enter the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Brewer when he was inducted on July 25, 1999.
Brings back some great memories, doesn't it, folks? And thank you for sharing this special cake with your Brewer. Attention. And we'll go.
Hope the sound system works better down here. It's my privilege to be here tonight to introduce Robin Yount. I want to share 3 short stories with you you might know before I introduce him. Story number 1, the first 2 phone calls I made when I bought the Brewers were to Bob Uecker upstairs and to Robin Yount. I leave it to them to sort out which one got called first. Second story is that when we drafted Robin, and he was drafted 3rd, a member of our scouting department named Tony Scott went up to the podium with 2 cards, one of which had Robin's name on it, and one of which had a player which I don't know who it was. And he asked our head of scouting, who should I pick? And they said, well, whoever you want. And he looked down at the cards, and I guess he liked the name Robin Yount. And that worked out for the city of Milwaukee. Finally, Robin was the last active Major League ball player to be a teammate of Henry Aaron. And we all love Henry here in Milwaukee. With that, I want to introduce our Hall of Famer, Robin Yount.
I was not going to jump in there until it was time. Great response. Thank you. Thank you, Mark Adanasio. Welcome home, Robin Yount. At this time, fans, we'd like to bring back another Brewers legend and a Hall of Famer. Please join us in welcoming 7-time All-Star, Cy Young Award-winning League and World Series MVP, ladies and gentlemen, Rollie Fingers. Raleigh, it's good to see you here at Miller Park again. Fans, it's wonderful when our Hall of Famers come back to the honor of the career of a great ball player. It is certainly a pleasure to welcome back another Brewers great. In fact, he is the 25-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time National League batting champion, and 4 times the National League home run champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Hammer and Hank Aaron. Welcome back, Hank. It's great to have you here as the Brewers celebrate the 20th anniversary of the retirement of Robin Yount's jersey number 19. Tonight, fans received a replica of a painting that celebrates Robin's playing career. Hank and Raleigh, if you will, please do the honors and unveil Robin Yount's memorial gift on this very special occasion. There you go. That's a beauty. Power to right center. Robin, that brings back wonderful memories from your great career. Fans, please welcome Brewers President of Baseball Operations and General Manager of the Brewers, Mr. Doug Melvin. Doug has another gift to mark this occasion. Robin, knowing how special the charity is for you, the Brewers are making a $10,000 donation to the MAC Fund in your name. Ladies and gentlemen, number 19, the kid, Robin Yount.
Thank you. Thank you. God, if I would have known that retiring for 20 years was this big a deal, I would have done it a lot sooner. First of all, I'd like to thank the Brewers for their generous donation to the MAC Fund. Mark, thank you. Doug. I'd like to thank Raleigh Fingers for coming in. You know, without Raleigh, there would have not been an '82 World Series. I'd like to thank the greatest home run hitter of all time, Henry Aaron, for coming in. Again, to the Brewers, thank you for this beautiful painting.
Well, the painting's beautiful. The subject's a little shaky. But thank you. You know, 40 years ago, the Brewers drafted me, and I wasn't quite sure what Milwaukee was all about. I knew they made beer here. I knew the Brewers' uniforms were blue, white, and yellow, but I really didn't know that much about the city. It didn't take me long as a player to figure out that this was the place for me to play baseball. "20 years later, I learned a lot about the city. Because I took playing the game so seriously, I probably didn't get to know enough about it. But the next 20 years, I've been lucky enough to go around the state, see other cities, and meet you, the people of Wisconsin. And that's why I keep coming back. I could never thank you enough for how great you've treated me throughout these 40 years. And I guess over that time, if there is anything I could have to offer you, it would be, if there's something you really want to do bad enough and you can do it today, don't wait for tomorrow. 40 years can go by really fast. Thank you all.
Well, terrific words from the kid, and he is truly the greatest of all time in this franchise. We got baseball coming up next. Ceremony is done. Nationals Brewers coming your way. Is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Big tailgating scene outside Miller Park. Good crowd on a Friday night here. And Robin Yount finishing off this ceremony with a ceremonial first pitch. Robin Yount throwing to Raleigh Fingers. Two of the all-time greats in Brewers franchise history, and their numbers are up there on the rafters here. And it's always great to see Robin Yount, and he is going to join us here in the booth, in our Fox Sports Wisconsin booth in the second inning. So we'll have some fun chatting it up with Robin Yount, still very active in the Wisconsin area. He lives in the Phoenix area, Rock, but anytime you can get Robin Yount to the ballpark, it is a good day, and it's hard to believe it's been 20 years since his number retirement ceremony.
Yeah, one of the most influential teammates that I ever had when I was playing baseball. He and Paul Molitor doing things that you don't see on the field too often. And I don't believe I've ever met a player or a person, you know, as humble as Robin Yount, given all the success and everything that he's been able to accomplish in baseball. Just a terrific guy, and it always is, as you mentioned, it's a better day when Robin Yount's around.
Well, the first into the Hall of Fame wearing that Milwaukee Brewers cap as Tom Gorzelani takes to the field. He'll get the start tonight against the Washington Nationals. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Sophia Minnaert with you, and we're delighted you're with us tonight. It's a cloudy night on a Friday night, but the temperature is very comfortable, and it's a beautiful night for baseball here. Davey Johnson and the Nationals, a reeling ball club right now. Washington comes in just 52-56. They are 11.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves. Johnson's lineup has Bryce Harper leading off. Anthony Rendon will hit second. Ryan Zimmerman batting third. The middle of the order is Jason Worth in right. Adam LaRoche will be at first base, and the shortstop is Ian Desmond. Bottom of the order, Denard Span, the former Twin. Wilson Ramos, also a former Twin. He catches, and Wisconsin native UW-Stevens Point, Jordan Zimmerman, is on the mound. That's the Piggly Wiggly batting order for Davey Johnson. And there is Tom Gorzelani, who was a member of the Nationals just last season.
Yeah, he worked out of the bullpen solely for the Nationals, put up a terrific season, and making his 6th start of the year, his 38th appearance overall, a .283 earned run average. Last 2 starts for Gorzelani. He started out very well, but could not get out of the 6th inning in either of his last 2 starts. Last time out against the Rockies in Colorado, he did get a win, gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings. And here's the start we were talking about. He got roughed up a little bit. He gave up a 3-run home run to Willeen Rosario. And only 4 runs. Got into the 6th inning, able to pick up the win. 5 1/3, 6 hits. One of those a home run. Now the key to his success so far as a starter, throwing strikes. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but only 1 walk. He's been throwing a lot of strikes.
And a night when the heavy rains came, he only threw 83 pitches in those 5 1/3. He was rolling along until giving up that 3-run home run. But the Brewers hung on to win it. That was the night. There was an hour and 45-minute rain delay going into the bottom of the 9th. And then Henderson came out and sealed the deal. So his first win as a Milwaukee Brewer coming on July 27th. As a starting pitcher, he has 2 wins total. And his first pitch to Bryce Harper is outside ball 1. Away we go. When you think about Bryce Harper in the big leagues at age 19, you think about Robin Yount at age 18. Harper sends one skyward. That is a big league pop-up if there ever was one. And that's how the night begins for Tom Gorzelani.
Well, check out the Menards Brewers defense. You got Caleb Gindler out in left field. He had a terrific road trip. 10 for 21, so he's out there in left field. Gomez Aoki center and right. Bianchi, Segura, Weeks, and Juan Francisco at first. Jonathan Lucroy hanging his signs tonight for Tom Gorzelani.
It'll be a 3-game series. The Brewers will take off Sunday for San Francisco after the day game. Jeff Bianchi's been getting most of the work at third base. Brewers are hopeful that Aramis Ramirez will return to the active roster in San Francisco or possibly Seattle on the next road trip. Now, Milwaukee in a stretch of 16 out of 19 games on the road. These are the 3 at Miller Park. That's it. Just one 3-game homestand this time around. Brewers coming off a 4-3 road trip. Dropped 2 out of 3 to the Rockies and then won 3 out of 4 from the Chicago Cubs. And a well-timed day off yesterday. The Brewers had a rough travel and weather road trip. There's Jerry Meals. He'll call the balls and strikes. Chris Conroy, Gary Darling, and David Rackley the base umpires. There's the crew chief, Gary Darling. No relation to Ron. And Gorzalani zips one in for a called strike 3. Rendon is retired. 2 up and 2 down.
Man, that's been a good pitch for Tom. He's been able to straighten a hitter up from time to time inside with 2 strikes. Key to that pitch is throwing it for a strike right on the corner. Everybody leaning out over the plate. You can see Rendon looking for the outside corner and catches him looking inside.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman now. One of 2 Zimmermans in the starting lineup. This one only has 1 N at the end of his name, as opposed to Jordan Zimmerman, who has 2 N's, in case you're adjusting your scorebook.
And that is the only way that they're different.
Ground ball to third. Bianchi over the top makes the play. And that's a nice start for Gorzalani. 1-2-3 against his old club. Now the Brewers coming up against Jordan Zimmerman. They go to their retro Friday uniforms, the throwbacks, the ball and glove logo, as Ron Renicky and his brew crew tried to make it a winning homestand, albeit a quick 3-gamer. And it's getting started tonight against Jordan Zimmerman. The Piggly Wiggly batting order is Weeks, Aoki, and Segura. Lucroy, Gomez, and Gindel, Francisco, Bianchi, and Gorzalani rounded out. And Auburndale, Wisconsin native with a full pass list tonight. Jordan Zimmerman on the hill.
They have 22nd start. You see, he's already got 3 complete games this year. He is a workhorse, a .319 earned run average, a 12-6 record, but he has lost 3 straight. He's had a rough month of July. He's 1-3 in July, but one of those wins came against the Brewers in Washington. But the Brewers hit him pretty good, 4 runs in 6 innings in a 10-5 Nationals victory. Last 2 starts have not been very good for Zimmerman. Matter of fact, a couple of starts ago, he got 7 earned runs in 2 innings. And that came against the Dodgers at home.
Jordan Zimmerman, since the All-Star break, and he made the All-Star team, didn't pitch because of a neck injury. But he has given up a boatload of runs since that time. 12 earned runs in his last 8 2/3 innings since the All-Star break. He hit the break at 12-4. And Weeks goes down the right field line just past the diving LaRoche. Extra bases for Weeks. He'll roll into second with a double, a leadoff double for the Brewers tonight.
Good fastball by Jordan Zimmerman. He gets it up there in the upper 90s, and Ricky able to slice it out of the reach of Adam LaRoche. And down in the corner and right, so leadoff double for Weeks. Staying on that pitch nicely, ripping it down the line.
So a good start for the Brewers. Runner at second with nobody out. Here's Nori Aoki now. And Aoki shows bunt, takes a ball. Nori comes in batting .289. He has 6 home runs, 23 driven in. Had a great run against Washington in a 4-game series earlier this year in D.C. That was in early July, about a month ago. Matter of fact, we spent the 4th of July in Washington, D.C.
Hey, remember that? That was an 11 o'clock start a.m. on the 4th of July. A early call from Milwaukee and the Nationals.
Now the Brewers split that 4-game series. Won the middle 2 games in that set. Zimmerman won the opener on July 1st. Didn't have his best stuff, however. And it's been that way for him in the month of July with that 1-3 record and an ERA over 7 in the month. Second time he has pitched in Wisconsin, but against Milwaukee he is 3-0 lifetime, including that win on July 1st.
Yeah, 3-0 and a .289 earned run average. And that includes his last start where he gave up 4 earned runs. That's how good he has been against Milwaukee. But having a rough stretch right now. Lost his last 3. His last 2 have come at home. 9-2 and 11-0 defeats. Washington really struggling right now, having a tough time.
And Zimmerman's last outing against the Mets, Nationals lost that game 11-0. Zimmerman gave up 5 of those 11 runs, but did strike out 8. And there's a strike on the edge against Aoki. His stuff looks good. You know, you go back and you look at his last few starts. He has good velocity on his fastball. He's pitching in the mid-90s. He's got a terrific curveball, changeup, slider. One thing you hear about Zimmerman is that maybe a little wild in the zone, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, not catching the corners, and instead of missing off the plate, he's missing over the plate, more down the middle.
Got a full count to Aoki with Weeks at second, and Nori bounces one to third. Zimmerman slings it over to first for the first out.
Now let's check out the Menards Nationals defense. They have struggled defensively this year. A big departure from last year where they were solid defensively. 3rd from the bottom in the National League in team fielding percentage. They've committed 74 errors this year. Ryan Zimmerman over at third base has committed 16 errors already this year.
He's a former Gold Glove Award winner back in 2009. He's been an All-Star, been a Silver Slugger Award winner, but he has had a rough season, and he has a very unorthodox throwing style right now in his career.
Shoulders killing him. Yep. He just can't throw, and a lot of those errors are throwing errors.
Has a deliberate sidearm delivery on his throws. Here's Segura. Got the day off on Wednesday, the final game of that series with the Chicago Cubs. The Brewers lost that final game. Segura had Wednesday off, and that gave him a full team day off yesterday, which gives him back-to-back. Just a little banged up. Had a forearm injury when he was hit by a pitch in Colorado. And nursing minor injuries in his legs and his hands, so good to give him some time off. Segura hit a home run in Chicago. This is game 1 against Carlos Villanueva, game 1 of a doubleheader, second game of the series, and that was number 12. Segura had gone over a month without a home run until that blast at Wrigley Field.
I don't think anybody expected the power that Jean Segura has exhibited so far this year.
Segura's been able to maintain his batting average. It's at .317 overall, primarily because in his last 4 he is 5 for 11 with that home run and 4 runs batted in, and he was instrumental in a big comeback in the second game of the doubleheader on Tuesday. Had an infield hit. and then scored what was the winning run in the 9th inning on the base hit by Bianchi. Seems like ages ago after the off day yesterday. The 1-2, and Zimmerman misses inside. Well, you could have made a strong case for Zimmerman at the All-Star break that he was among the group of contenders for a Cy Young award. That has tailed off since, but he's got a lot of baseball ahead of him the rest of the year. And he is still a big winner in the big leagues. And Segura hits it hard, but right at Rendon. And there is out number 2.
All 3 hitters for the Brewers have hit the ball right on the nose. Aoki at Bullock to third, and now Segura to second base.
So here comes Jonathan Lucroy with 2 away. By the way, tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. And they're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan, and Manhattan, Kansas. And we welcome all of you. That's where Rock Sun Billy's hanging out tonight.
Yeah.
Lucroy coming off a great month. He was named as the Brewers Player of the Month. Kyle Loesch was the Pitcher of the Month for the team. And he got my vote for National League Player of the Month.
And me too.
There are other players with slightly better numbers. For example, Giancarlo Stanton had a lot more home runs, much lower batting average. But we like to factor in all of the circumstances. And when you're catching every day in the big leagues and putting up the numbers that Lucroy put up in July, that counts.
And more importantly, if you're a Brewer.
And he's a Brewer.
But I mean, 7 home runs and, you know, hit over 350. I mean, that was a terrific month of July for Lucroy. You know, and you consider, you know, the guys that have been out of the lineup, and Lucroy really has been the premier run producer in this lineup now for a while. And he's responded well.
Well, he hits in the cleanup spot tonight with Gomez hitting 5th. This was typically the order that Roenicke used on the road trip. First 5 guys pretty well settled in. Then you see some of the changes. Although Lucroy did make a start at first base on Wednesday, just trying to keep his bat in the lineup when he's not catching. And Lucroy draws a walk. A 3-1 slider from Zimmerman, and now the runners at the corners for Carlos Gomez.
Almost as if Zimmerman has no problem walking Lucroy once he was ahead to count 3-1, and go after Carlos Gomez. There's a guy who doesn't walk many. 1.5 walks per 9 innings. That's 3rd best in the National League. Pretty good company. Adam Wainwright and Cliff Lee ahead of him.
Yeah,
and that's it.
The old unintentional intentional. Zimmerman knew just what he was doing against Lucroy. Lucroy didn't bite. So now we'll see if Gomez can cash it in. 2 outs, 1st and 3rd. And a breaking ball fouled back. Zimmerman not pleased with that pitch location.
And once again, Wild in the strike zone, not Wild out of the strike zone. So, you know, those walks, they're kind of deceiving. I would imagine the Nationals thinking maybe pitch around some guys from time to time, and nothing wrong with a walk once in a while.
0-2 the count. These two both selected as All-Stars. Gomez participated in the game. Got an at-bat against Mariano Rivera, as a matter of fact, in Rivera's final All-Star game, and will be his last ever out. Mariano Rivera. Zimmerman was selected, did not participate, and down he goes. Zimmerman goes up the ladder, strikes him out, and the side is retired. Robin Yount joins us in the booth when we come back. Number 19, and it was the 20th anniversary of that ceremony, and that's why Robin Yount was in the ballpark today. And it is always great to see you, and I don't care what kind of reasons they come up with to bring you back to the ballpark. Very nice speech, and it's always great to have you here, Robin.
Well, it's always great to be here. I don't always look forward to having to do that, but
you do it so well.
Oh yeah, sure I do.
Now, you say you don't like to speak, you do though.
I stumble my way all the way through it, but
not at all.
You know, but thank you. God, what can I say?
So you played 20 years. Your number was retired. 20 years after that is right now. You're 57 years old, and here we are. Look at these great highlights.
We didn't have to say the age and all that, but yeah, it's well, like I said down there, golly, where did those 40 years go? It doesn't. It certainly doesn't feel like it. I'm sure it doesn't to you guys either, though. That it was all that long ago that we were out there doing this.
Right, I know it.
You know,
yeah.
Man, the older we get, the faster time goes by.
And I don't know about you, but the longer I'm out of the game, the better my career was. How about you?
Well,
you feel the same?
I think that's, you know, I want to die. I got to die fast because that statue out there is a big old dude. You know that? And,
forearms, huh?
I cannot live up to that in person, so I need to get out of here so the next generations think I was a big stud.
What goes through your mind when you come here and you do events like this? You see your number up there. I mean, you've seen it so often. You've seen the statue so often. But what do you think about when you take it all in, or do you?
I honestly, I don't. I really don't. But I love to come back here. I mean. That's just why I do, because I love Wisconsin so much, and the people have treated me so great. It's just been incredible. I just can't believe where the 40 years has gone.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Now you had Raleigh down there. I mean, it's always good to see Raleigh, huh?
Yeah, I see Raleigh kind of regularly. I don't see Hank all the time,
right.
But man, for Raleigh Fingers and Hank Aaron to come in for this, I was like.
Cool.
You got to be kidding me. This was
a shot off of Gorzelani. That got him pretty good.
Yes, it did.
Jason Worth, and this is not looking good for Gorzelani. A line drive right back to the box. And let's see if we can figure out where that hit him, maybe on the wrist or the forearm. That is his pitching arm as well. So just what Ron Renicky didn't need to see another pitcher ailing on the mound. The Brewers already putting Giovanni Gallardo on the disabled list a couple of days ago. Athletic trainer Dan Wright is out there as well. Well, there's not a lot of distance between home plate and the pitcher's mound when that pitcher releases the ball, is there?
No, he's the closest guy to the bat. And in the worst position normally to field the ball.
Right, really not ready for it. But Robin, in your playing career, I mean, the Brewers have really suffered a ton of injuries and major injuries in your playing years with Milwaukee. Can you remember a year that there are so many injuries involved?
Well, you know, there are. I don't, to get specific, no, I don't know. But, you know, just it seems like it snowballs. Some years you just struggle to stay healthy as a group, and other years, you know, you're always going to have your injuries, but depending on who they happen to, key players or not, I think this is where it gets the most difficult for smaller market teams. Are the ones that have injuries. They don't normally have the depth of some of the bigger clubs, and that's where it becomes a real challenge for the smaller markets to you know, to overcome injuries to the wrong guys.
They don't have the money just to go out and go buy somebody.
Well,
right?
Their benches are normally not as strong as some of the major teams, but it is what it is. And you know, some years are better than others in those areas, and unfortunately, we've had one of the years where we've had a rough go of it.
Well, I was with you. I know a couple of years you had your back was giving you some problems, but you were still able to get yourself out there at shortstop and get out there and play ball.
Well, I was lucky because I didn't have the type of injuries that made me miss many games. You know, everybody's got nagging things going on out there. You can't play 162 straight days without things bothering you. But like I said, I was very lucky because I never had any major things that yeah, he's done. Yeah. That looked like my first pitch.
Well, That's a tough break for Tom Gorzelani, and now the Brewers are in full-blown scramble mode as Gorzelani leaves. Face one batter in the second inning after retiring the side in the first. We're going to continue our chat with Robin Yount, and he'll help us fill this delay as Figueroa will be next. We'll take a timeout. Bullpen after Gorzelani was hit in the elbow, his throwing elbow, on a line drive by Jason Word. Tom Gorzelani in a vulnerable position, tried to get his glove on it, and it hit him right in the elbow, right at the point of the elbow. He tried to make one toss, Rock, and that was that. He shut it down, and now it's going to be Alfredo Figueroa. And he'll have all the time he needs to get loose.
Yeah, when you get hit in those bony areas, you know, the elbows and the wrists and things like that. So, you know, if there's a little bit of meat around where you get hit, you might have a chance to be able to continue. But as soon as you get hit, Robin, it's the best. It's going to feel all night. I mean, it's just going to continue to stiffen up and get worse.
Yeah, he had no chance. He probably doesn't even feel his elbow, because when he tried to throw that pitch, he had, you know, nothing. You could tell he couldn't feel the ball.
Now, visiting with Robin Yount earlier tonight, the Brewers honored Robin. It's the 20th anniversary of his number 19 being retired. So great chance to bring you back. And it's been one of those seasons, and you mentioned it before we went to the break. It's been a rough season on the injury front. Of course, the Ryan Braun suspension. And as you look at this organization from afar, and you look at baseball from afar with PED use and whatnot, I'm very interested to hear your comments as a Hall of Famer, as a great former player, as you look back from the perspective you do on what this game means and where it is right now as far as PED use and where this organization is moving forward, in your opinion.
Well, obviously right now, you know, the headlines unfortunately are where they shouldn't be, and you know, because we've got some star players that you know, are being investigated or whatever, you know, without totally understanding all the details. My hope is that we get a positive out of this, and by that I mean maybe we can put an end to this once and for all. I hope the guys out there realize that maybe they can't beat the system. I hope the system is good enough to deter any of this from now on. I honestly believe that that this should be the end of it all. I hope. It's an ugly moment for baseball, but I would like to believe that that these guys are smart enough to realize that, you know, that the drug testing works and everybody can be on an equal playing field, and you don't need to do it anymore. Yeah. So I hope that's what comes from it.
Well, we certainly do too. And as a Hall of Famer and an ambassador of the game, and you're out continuously speaking engagements, signing, how often does it come up for you, and what are some of the things when you think about the game moving forward, and how comfortable are you discussing these matters? I know you're very close with Commissioner Selig, and what are some of these discussions like, if you can even share any of that?
Well, in all honesty, I haven't spoken with him for quite a while on this subject. So that's why I say I don't know a lot of details of what's going on. I don't know any, actually. I know as much as the public knows. I read the paper like the rest of us, and my inside information I haven't been getting recently. Right. So to use that, I really don't have any more knowledge than the rest of us. But I just, again, I'm hoping this is the end of it. You know, it's just, we don't need it, obviously. And I think there was a time when I think players kind of felt that they were almost forced to use them prior to drug testing as a matter of keeping up with the next guy. But I hope they realize that it's not necessary anymore. And I hope our drug testing is good enough that they know that and they don't have to challenge it anymore. And everybody will be on an equal playing field, and we'll all move on.
And more importantly, not going to get away with it anymore.
Well, I don't think you can, obviously, unless they know something that the people making the rules don't.
Little soft liner by LaRoche for the first out. Now, as a leader, you were a leader as a player. Obviously, you coached and you've been involved in the game in so many different ways. But I don't know. To me, I feel like Milwaukee fans are still waiting for that next thought or that next moment moving forward. What is your advice on that? How do you address Milwaukee baseball fans about the rest of this season, moving into next season, and how this organization is going to deal with, specifically the Ryan Braun suspension, but a lot that's going on this year?
Well, I think that's one specific case. I don't think it's the norm. And I think as a general rule, we got a pretty good thing going here. Baseball has never been, as an industry, as successful as it's been the last 10 years. So again, I believe this is a bump in the road. It's a black eye, but I still think it's such a, you're talking a handful of players possibly out of how many hundreds that are out there. So let's get rid of it once and for all with this and move on.
And move on to discussion to the Brewers. You've been keeping an eye on what's going on. A lot of young players, and they're hungry and playing some pretty good baseball. Caleb Gindel, for instance, I mean, had a 10-for-21 stretch and second time with the team. These guys are playing hard.
And I saw him. I saw he hit a home run to win the game in extra innings, a 1-0 game. That's a great feeling. Homer. Great feeling for a young player. Sure. Great feeling. And our shortstop is doing outstanding, and Gomes coming into his own finally. And as rough a season as this is that we're having, we've got some positive things going on out there. So, hey, this game's not easy.
No,
you played rock.
Yeah, it's not. Tell me, it's a lot easier for you than it was for me.
You know what? Maybe in the end the numbers were better, but it never felt easy. Yeah, it never felt easy.
It is a grind.
And some years are just better than others. And the one nice thing that I notice around baseball, it seems like teams can turn around quicker for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but. Bad seasons are not the norm very often anymore. You can have a bad season or two, but it seems like organizations bounce back from them pretty quickly.
And I think that's why Doug Mello wasn't so willing to trade a lot of the guys in the trading deadline, because he feels perhaps he's not that far away for next year.
I totally agree. Man, I hate that when they, an organization like this, because you're not in a pennant race, start dumping some of their best players. In my opinion, what that does is makes your upside that much further away. You're counting on unproven players oftentimes, because of what their potential is versus what they've really done. And sometimes you can set an organization further back by doing that if it doesn't always pan out. So I don't know. I don't think we're that far away personally, and I would have been a little frustrated if we would have traded away some of our star players.
Right. Now you think about the Red Sox last year, the Dodgers, big market teams, and where they were at this time last year, and now both in first place this year, and you can turn it around quickly. And it certainly doesn't hurt that you enter into a stadium and there are, 30,000+ fans, and there's a lot of energy in this ballpark, and it's a great testament to these fans here. And I know the players really respond well to that, and this is still one of the great venues to enjoy a ball game, and you had a lot to do with the design of this ballpark.
Well,
Segura takes the out at second.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. Not as much as you might think, because if I had my way, those fences would be a lot further out than they are. But back when we were talking about it, Wendy didn't like that idea because I was getting rid of too many seats.
Nice. Didn't care about the players. It was the seats, right?
No, I just thought the initial, this is a lot bigger than what we started with on paper. And we all know it's not that easy to keep the ball in the ballpark as it is.
Not here, no.
So you're saying this was in the Robin Yount design, this was a pitcher's park when we started?
Well, not really. I like somewhere in between. You know, I'm a big fan of triples, not necessarily.
There's a lot of them in here.
Well, and that's why we got some goofy corners out there, and we tried to create some angles. And I always love I love home field advantage. I love a ballpark that can create a home field advantage, and there's an advantage to playing 81 times here versus 10. And I always love that. And this is kind of what my thinking was when we started deciding where the outfield fence was going to go.
Where are your signature spots, architecture here at Miller Park, like on the walls? The angled walls and whatnot.
The initial drawing from the caterpillar to caterpillar went straight across instead of the little niches in there. The lines were way shorter. The lines were probably in, 345 and left?
344.
And okay. They were in about 15 to 20 feet on the original drawing.
Wow.
Yes. And now they went out a little bit instead of straight across. But, boy, I was trying to figure out how the heck they were ever going to keep a ball in the ballpark. Like I said, I wanted to create triples, not necessarily homers.
You never worried about that, keeping the ball in the ballpark, right?
Well, I couldn't hit them out, so I wanted to run.
The one thing that's great about this ballpark, we see Gomez taking away home runs all the time. It's just the perfect height, the wall, to take them away.
No, and that's exciting for the fans, and I don't know if there's any places out there where the fans can interfere. Well, that's the problem with some of them is you have a lot of fan interference calls on the lower fences if the seats come all the way to them, and we don't have that here. So I'm sure Gomez makes highlight plays here all the time.
Yeah, he's brought 4 back this year. He's saved 4 home runs. No other big leaguer has even 2. So Gomez has done it 4 times. It's a perfect height wall at 8 feet to jump over and pull a home run back. We're visiting with Robin Yount, and of course he's had his hands on this organization in so many ways. What year did the ownership here in Milwaukee come to you about the design of Miller Park, the notion even of a retractable roof stadium that could be a possibility? Hold that. Let me ask you that when we're done. As Figueroa picks up the strikeout, we'll continue with Robin Yount when we come back. ceremony of the ceremony. It was Robin throwing out a ceremonial first pitch to Rollie Fingers. I thought you might short hop one in there just for fun.
I did that to Gumby.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. I was trying to hit him in the shins.
So that was a cool moment earlier. But I wanted to finish up this thought. I apologize for asking you a question with 2 outs. I was so starstruck in here by Bill Schroeder. Bruce Fleming joined us as well.
He does that to me, too.
So when did the discussion start with you about the ballpark? You know, after your retirement ceremony was in '94. Now, how soon after that were things starting to get moving with this venue?
Well, the discussions weren't with me about doing it, but I can remember Commissioner Selig talking about it while I was still playing, that looking forward to one day, you know, building a new stadium. And then he always mentioned that it would be a retractable roof and all of that. And so I think the thought was probably there in the mid 80s with the commissioner, I would guess. I'm making that up, but I think he was looking forward to a place like this long before we saw it.
Very cool. We have a question from a fan on our carsoup.com email, the booth question, and a good time as any to hear from Robin Yount. This is from Brian in Wauwatosa. Robin, what's the most memorable moment of your Brewers career? I'm sure you get asked that a lot.
Yeah, Brian, that's an easy one, though, for me. I can't define a specific moment, but I can tell you the World Series in '82 was by far the highlight of my career. It's what just about every kid that's ever put on a baseball uniform in Little League or Pony League High School dreams about, and I was fortunate enough to live out that dream. So, yeah, it's a goal of a player, probably in any sport that they're in, to reach the pinnacle of that sport, and in ours it happens to be the World Series. So
yeah.
that was by far my highlight of my career.
Let's switch gears a little bit. The Lakeshore Chinooks. I was sitting around the house. It was an off day. I'm flipping through, and I see a Chinooks game on TV last night. And talk about them. They're playing some pretty good ball.
We're playing really good ball, especially in our second year. You know, we've got roughly 10 or 12 games left. The last I saw, I don't know what happened last night, but we had about a 4-game lead with 10 games to go to make the playoffs. We have the best overall record for the year. They split the season into 2 halves, and if you put our first half together with our second half, we have the best record in the league. So we're doing great. Looking forward to continuing to play well and seeing some playoff baseball out there at Concordia University at Capco Park.
Tell fans out there who may not know the Lakeshore Chinooks, as Francisco strikes out, what it's all about. It's a college wood bat league, and how your involvement.
Well, it's the Lakeshore Chinooks are a team in the Northwoods League. The Northwoods League consists of 16 teams. We've got 2 divisions of 8, and it's basically college kids, mostly freshmen and sophomores, that go away to play summer baseball, and they use wooden bats. It's very much like a rookie league.
Right.
You know, they travel on buses. They stay in host family houses. 26, 27-man roster. Very much like bus rides all over the state. And more than the state. Actually, there's a couple teams in Iowa, and I don't know if Minnesota has a team, but Michigan definitely has some.
I think Rochester had a team, didn't they?
Yeah, Rochester, exactly. So, yeah, we're in Minnesota, too. But and it's not just about the players in our case out at Concordia. We're using students to actually run the show behind the scenes. You know, we've got the kids are selling merchandise, selling tickets, selling, doing the vending.
Yeah.
Our trainers are students, and not only is it a place for the players to find out or advance their playing skills, but some of these kids may end up here in the front office one day, hopefully.
On-the-job training.
Yeah, so they're getting an opportunity to live the professional baseball life.
Well, the Yankees going to be safe on a throwing error, another throwing error by a former Gold Glover in Ryan Zimmerman.
Robin, it just looks like his arm is just killing him. His shoulder, he's got some shoulder problem, just slinging it over to first base, and You can relate to that. I mean, you know, playing a little bit through injury and trying to do the best you can to get the baseball over there.
Yeah, it's, you know, later in the year, depending on what those injuries can be, some of them stand out more than others, you know. And if he's got a bad arm, it's tough to hide over there at third base.
Just can't get his arm up, and that's a tough spot to be.
That's 17 errors for Zimmerman.
Yeah, that's about it. I wish I only made 17 during the season.
As a shortstop.
That would have been a good year for me.
Yeah.
Tough weather, too, early in the schedule. Now here is Figueroa. After Gorzelani was hit by a batted ball, Figueroa took over, and his first at bat, and that is going to retire the side. Robin, it's always a pleasure. It's an honor here to be with you today and see you down on the field and to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 20th number 19 being retired.
Well, thank you, B.A. I appreciate it. It's always great to come back and be with you guys. Thanks, Rock.
He's the greatest. Robin Yount.
Brewers, just 3 games, so we still get to catch up with Brewers Chief Operating Officer Rick Schlesinger. Rick, the team announces the Fans First initiative for the month of August. Fans eat free for the entire month. What are the specifics of that giveaway?
Every fan coming to a game in August with a ticket gets a voucher for $10, good for essentially everything we sell here at Miller Park. So that's food, beverages, including our Miller products, merchandise. You can use it to go against tickets. Pretty much everything. We distributed over 34,000 vouchers this evening, and that's $340,000 worth of value, and the fans have loved it and been very appreciative, and it's just a way of reaching out for what has been a tough season, and a thank you to the fans for being the best fans in baseball.
Robin Yount's in the house tonight, Raleigh Fingers, retro uniforms, and on Sunday you'll be honoring Brewers manager Harvey Kuenn with the bobblehead. How important is it to remember these Brewers greats?
Well, it's the 82 team, and Harvey's the only manager in the Brewers history to lead us to a World Series. We want to get Ron there so we can do his bobblehead, but it's great. Harvey's an icon, you know, a part of our history, and the 82 team has still have a lot of great memories for a lot of fans, including myself, and I remember watching those games in college and, you know, on pins and needles, and if we had Raleigh healthy, we would have won that 7-game series against the Cardinals.
Great memories from that 1982 team. Does the team have any other initiatives coming up to either, you know, give back to the fans or honor Brewers greats?
Yeah, we're coming up with some other ones. So we've been working. We've got a lot of ideas, and we just got to figure out which one's the right one. So we'll be announcing some things shortly. But like we said before, the vouchers was just the first, probably the most impactful we're going to do. But it's the first of several, and more will be coming, and I'll make sure we let you know.
All right, thanks, Rick. And again, BA, that Fans First initiative will continue, and the vouchers are good for the entire month of August. So stick around, Brewers fans. Come on out and see us all throughout the month of August.
All right, thanks, Sophia, and thanks to Rick Schlesinger. And great to have Robin Yount here. We appreciate him stopping by for a couple of half innings. Took us through a delay due to injury, and Robin still very busy with a lot of ventures, including his Robinade that benefits the Mac Fund. The drink that all the proceeds go to the Mac Fund. As a matter of fact, the Brewers made a $10,000 donation to the Mac Fund prior to the game today as part of the ceremony, and something near and dear to his heart. And it's very cool to see how much he's still involved in the state of Wisconsin. And of course, right here with the Brewers as Zimmerman bounces out for out number 2. Well, Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like MS and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. Robin Yount had some great words before the game today. I think just, for the Brewers to see a guy like Robin Yount kind of hit the reset button a little bit on what has been a very difficult season in a lot of ways, on the field, off the field, and he kind of provides that, that stability, that compass about how great this franchise is and can be. And it's great to have this ceremony in front of a very good crowd tonight on a Friday night.
Yeah, guys, for the Brewers see Robin quite a bit in spring training, but during the season, Robin, all the things he's got going, he comes into town once in a while, and every now and again he'll go up to somebody he feels as though maybe needs a little bit of a pep talk, and always makes everybody feel better when he's around. Just so humble, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me, and I said it when we came on the air tonight. For a guy that has done as much as he has done, not just on the field but off as well, he's just a terrific human being. Just so humble, you would never know it.
Yeah. And it's fitting that when you ask him about his favorite moment, we had a text, or rather an email question about it. And of all the incredible individual accomplishments for Robin Yount, including 3,000 hits, among many others, MVPs, All-Star games, all of that, Gold Gloves, it's fitting that he points out a team accomplishment, getting to the World Series in 1982, and he didn't hesitate.
Yeah, that final catch and then Wanye was no hitter. That's something when I think of Robin Yount and they say the name Robin Yount, that's the first thing I think of. Of course, I wasn't around for 3,000 hits. I was a fan. It's kind of indicative of the way the guy played baseball. I mean, you talk about a guy, everybody talks about Gene Segura, the way he throws his body around. Robin Yount did that for 20 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and he talked about how fortunate he was to not have some of the major injuries. You were around him.
He did,
yeah, exactly.
He did.
That
shoulder, back problems, and he was able to press on and get through it and get out on the field.
Figaro strikes out Bryce Harper. 3 up, 3 down inning.
Pre-game ceremony with Robin Yount to remember the 20th anniversary of his retirement, joined by Brewers greats Raleigh Fingers and Hank Aaron. Always great to take a trip down memory lane, and that's what we're doing on our AT&T Twitter poll tonight, asking fans to weigh in on what stands out the most from Robin Yount's Hall of Fame career. His 3,000 hits, did it in September 9th, 1992, a three-time All-Star, of course taking the Brewers to the World Series in 1982, and his 2 MVP seasons, the first in 1982 as a shortstop, the second in 1989 as an outfielder. And how appropriate, the retro uniforms, and it's fun to take this trip down memory lane, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. See if the Brewers can finish it off with a victory against the Washington Nationals tonight. Thank you, Sophia. Raleigh Fingers is here as well, and we are hoping to get a few minutes with Raleigh. We've asked him to come up to the booth. We invite everyone to the booth, so hopefully Raleigh will take us up on it. He's always fun to talk to. As Weeks is hit by a pitch, that got a piece of Weeks and then ricocheted off Ramos, the catcher.
I think Ramos got the worst of it. Ricky Weeks has that pad on the elbow, but after Weeks hit one down the right field line on a pitch away, Zimmerman trying to make an adjustment and pitch him inside, and got a piece of Weeks, got him right on that pad. That's not going to hurt too much, and Ramos is the guy that got the worst of it.
And now Davey Johnson wants to take a look at his catcher. When the Brewers were in D.C. at the beginning of July, Ramos was just getting back from the disabled list, had a knee injury, and they were very hopeful that they were now moving into a full-strength ball club. This is the ball club they envisioned when they broke spring training, and so they were really counting on a very strong month of July, and it just hasn't worked out that way for the Washington Nationals. As a matter of fact, they have lost 14 of their last 20 games.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been one thing or another. We talked about their poor defense. Their pitching's been so-so, and really having a difficult time scoring runs. Ramos has only played in 32 games this year. But for the most part, Nationals have been relatively, anyway, healthy. A lot of the big boppers have been able to stay on the field, but example with Ryan Zimmerman, he's just banged up, but he's been able to stay in the lineup.
Well, Aoki with a man on to start this third inning in a scoreless game. Each club with a hit. Brewers got a double from Ricky Weeks in the first inning, a double down the right field line, and they failed to drive him in. And now Aoki, a hot one. Oh, what a play by Rendon, and he starts a 4-6-3 double play. Wow. Outstanding play. That gives us a chance to send it to Los Angeles for a Fox Sports 1 game break. All right, Greg, thanks. And the Cardinals putting together a couple of big offensive nights in a row. Matter of fact, last night they beat the Pirates 13-0 on 17 hits. And tonight against the Reds, a 12-0 lead through 6 innings. They have 11 hits at this point.
They got the Cardinals angry, didn't they? The Cardinals able to avoid the 5-game sweep at the hands of the Pirates by winning last night.
Well, the Pirates still the division leaders. Pittsburgh with a 1.5 game lead over St. Louis. Cardinals had lost 7 straight before that victory last night. Cincinnati is the one teetering right now. They're 5.5 back. They're still well in the race with a lot of baseball to be played. But they're in danger of slipping back another game. Pittsburgh is trailing the Rockies right now 4-1 in the top of the 8th. So the Pirates at home against the Colorado Rockies, down 3. We have hit the month of August 2 months ago as Segura whistles one past Ian Desmond, a base hit. He's thinking about 2, and he's on his way. And the throw comes in late. A hustle double by Gene Segura.
Well, he was able to make second base because he busted out of the box right away thinking to. It's a good risk to take. 2 outs, nobody on. You try and get yourself into scoring position. Never hesitated. A good throw by Span right on the bag. Made it pretty close. Good hustle by Segura to get into scoring position. There it is.
So double number 14 to go along with 12 homers. And now a base hit. And the Brewers can take the lead and break this scoreless tie. Jonathan Lucroy, the best the Brewers have with runners in scoring position. He walked his last time up. Zimmerman has a base open again. We'll see how aggressive he will be with Lucroy. Pitched around him his last time up. Lucroy with a .286 batting average, 15 homers. He hit 7 of those in the month of July. Zimmerman sends one in for a strike. Powerball home run leaderboard. Gomez still the club leader in homers with 17. And then Lucroy, Francisco, Segura, and Betancourt. Segura and Betancourt homered on the same day in the same game on Tuesdays, part of game 1 of that doubleheader against the Cubs.
Right, Brewers 4th in the league in home runs. That's a surprise. Brewers are 4th in home runs. The Nationals are 7th. Of course, Nationals Park a little bit more difficult to hit home runs, but they've got their boppers in the lineup. The Brewers do not.
I was fascinated by that discussion with Ravignan about the design of the ballpark and some of the things he wanted, and
he wanted even more shallow. Could you imagine?
Yeah. Lucroy lines it to third, right at Zimmerman. That will end the inning. Boy, Brewers hit the ball hard that inning against Jordan Zimmerman. Nothing to show for it. Presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Beautiful Miller Park Friday night. And the Brewers and the Nationals hooked up in a pitcher's duel, scoreless as we head to the 4th. Don't forget, West Coast Customs coming your way each and every Sunday on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Got a brand new episode this Sunday famed car customizer Ryan Friedlinghaus of West Coast Customs. Well, Figueroa was pressed into duty tonight. Tom Gorzelani retired the side in order in the first. He was hit by a line drive off the bat of Worth to start the second inning. That's the only hit for the Nationals. Gorzelani had to come out, and Figueroa has gone 2 scoreless with 2 strikeouts. Brewers have 2 hits, 2 doubles, Weeks and Segura. It's been an error and a hit batter that has put a couple of Brewers on base as well, but nothing on the board so far. And now the Nats sending up Rendon, Zimmerman, and Worth, 2, 3, and 4 in their batting order. Jeff Bianchi for the first out. Starting to settle it at third base, Bianchi, a shortstop by trade, and a lot to learn over there at third base. He's doing the best he can, and he said he is finally starting to feel comfortable at the position.
That ball reaction. I mean, the ball gets to you very quickly, particularly when you're playing either with the bag or in. He's got good soft hands and certainly a terrific throwing arm, even when he plays behind the bag at third. The ball gets to you so quickly. You know, a lot of times, you get a shortstop over at third base. They don't know what to do with themselves when they have so much time to throw the ball to first base. There's been a lot of guys that have made that transition. I remember Dale Swaim had that problem, early on. I mean, you take a couple of crow hop. A lot of times you're airmail one, but there have been third basemen that go down there that trying to make that transition. That the less time they had to make the throw to first base, the better off they were. It gets into your head a little bit. Yankee doesn't seem to have that problem.
Oh, there's a big fastball right by Zimmerman. Chases one letter high, and Figueroa with his third strikeout. That is our Head and Shoulders whiff.
At 94 miles an hour for Alfredo Figueroa, his third strikeout. Blowing it right by Zimmerman. No chance on that fastball.
2 up, 2 down. And here is Jason Worth, who has the only Nationals hit. Nationals coming off a couple of losses in Detroit. They were outscored 16-2 in those 2 games against the Tigers. They lost 11-1 on Wednesday, and then lost 5-1 on Tuesday. They did have a day off yesterday here in Milwaukee. They're trying to shake the cobwebs from their sleepy bats. Everybody's expecting this team to hit, but I mean, we've got a big sample size of a season already, and a lot of blame went to the injuries early. They fired their hitting coach.
And Davey Johnson has said that he's going to retire at the end of the season.
Worth into right center. That's trouble. He's going to get down a base hit. Over to cut it off is Aoki. And Worth is aboard with his second hit. He's 2 for 2. Has both of the Nationals base hits today. It's a 2-out single.
There's some that follow the Nationals, and you talk to folks that cover the ball club. They'll tell you that they look lifeless, but you know what? I don't buy that. I don't think any team is lifeless. It's just that when you're not hitting, you look lifeless, and you look like you don't have a lot of energy. That's just the way it is. They never say that about teams that hit.
When you're not swinging the bats, you can't. I always wondered what it is you're supposed to do to not look lifeless, because this is a game where the old saying less is more. The harder you try, and if you're squeezing that bat and you're grinding it out, it doesn't work that way. You've got to relax and play this game. I think most big leaguers, when they're struggling, try to do all they can to settle down. They try to relax and slow it down as best they can.
And Adam LaRoche certainly an example of that. I mean, nobody looks more comfortable and more relaxed at the plate. And when you're not hitting, people say it looks like he's not trying. It looks like he's asleep up there. But last year they didn't say that about him, and he had the same approach. Hit 30-some home runs. Big run producer, and it's just been a down year for him.
Well, Adam LaRoche, you look at his last 2 seasons, he's hit 47 home runs as a first baseman the last 2 years combined. Only Prince Fielder has as many. He also has 47. That gives you an idea of kind of power hitter he's been, and that's in a very big ballpark at Nationals Park in D.C. Very much a pitcher-friendly park. But it's just been an up-and-down year for him. He's sitting at 232 for the season with 14 home runs after a 30-plus, 100-plus season last year. He's coming off a dismal July. LaRoche hit 159 in July and 88 at-bats. And he had a 136 batting average in April. So he's been a streaky hitter. Nationals certainly are hoping he can get in a hot streak before too long. That ball's hit well to center field. Gomez turns, and he's got it. Just shy of the wall. Gomez hauls it in, and the Nats go scoreless in the 4th. That's 3 shutout innings for Figueroa.
Brewers will head out on a long road trip through San Francisco, Seattle, and Texas, and then you can welcome the Brewers back and come on out to Miller Park as your Brewers host the Reds in a 4-game set Thursday, August 15th through Sunday, August 18th. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. And Davey Johnson, in his final season as the Nationals manager, led off his media session today by saying how much he enjoys coming here to Miller Park. BA, you were talking with Robin Yount about the stadium. He said he just loves coming here. He said it just feels like a good ballpark. He loves the way it opens up, the way the ball carries out of here. So it was interesting to get his take on the stadium.
Yes, and spoken like a true hitter and a power hitting second baseman during his day, Davey Johnson. He was a terrific player.
He had 40-plus home runs in his wasn't in Atlanta very long. He was more most known for his days with the Orioles at second base, but he went over to Atlanta and joined that group of boppers in with the Braves.
Now Davey Johnson is from my neck of the woods. He was born in San Antonio, and we used to always follow the career of Davey Johnson, and there was a career that ended in '78. But yeah, he was not only a multi-time All-Star, but a multi-Gold Glove Award winner as well. And that year you're thinking of, Rock, he had 43 home runs as a Brave in '73. He never really came close to that again, but he was always good for 10 to 15 home runs a season.
Yeah. One of those years for him, and boy, racking up the home run totals that year, and played with one of the best of all time. Talking about defense, Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, he did. Well, there's a good start for the Brewers. Zimmerman issuing a walk to Carlos Gomez. Now, Davey Johnson was in that golden era of Baltimore baseball, and they're hoping they're back in it. But he remembers baseball in the Beltway being relevant back in the 60s and the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And it's fitting that he's getting a chance to manage the Nationals back in the Beltway. As Gomez takes off, throw to second, short, hops in. Gomez is in there. Boy, that didn't take long. Gomez was on the move quickly with his 28th stolen base of the season. He's only been caught 4 times.
Yeah, Ramos tried to quicken himself up a little bit too much, and that's ordinarily what happens when a catcher tries to be too quick. And Desmond doing a good job keeping it in the infield, or Gomez would have been at third base.
So the Brewers now at 99 team stolen bases. In game number 109, they lead all of baseball in steals, 4th in the league in home runs. They led the National League in both of those categories last year. And Gomez is gaining on Segura, now at 28. Segura has 31. Caleb Gendel a chance to drive in a run. Gendel in his last 5 starts has at least 2 hits in each of those 5 starts, and he's 10 for 19. Doesn't count a pinch hit appearance.
Pretty good road trip, huh? And hitting the ball where it's pitched, up the middle to the opposite field. Pretty nice approach on the baseball. It's been fun to watch him. Starting to settle down in left field after a rough start when he first got called up.
He looks up at the scoreboard out there, a .328 batting average. Gendel with 5 runs batted in. We're scoreless in the 4th, and a pickoff play. Gomez back easily.
They're playing Gendel very shallow in left field. Bryce Harper very shallow, and we've seen Gendel drive some balls over the left fielder's head. Got a home run down the line in right.
His only big league homer came to left field, just inside the foul pole. That was a walk-off home run, his first career homer, and that ball's hit. Gomez was on the move with the pitch. He'll have to retreat.
He went that way, didn't he? That's the approach he's been putting on the baseball. Been a good one.
That'll be the first out. Gomez still at second base.
That was a case where you might want to think about, rolling over on one and hit a ground ball.
Well, July 1st, Francisco against Jordan Zimmerman launched one out of Nationals Park. Francisco now with 14 home runs for the season. 9 of those have come as a Brewer.
Yeah, those are little things that the Brewers need to do a better job of. Nobody out, a man at second base. You got to get him over somehow. You're going to make it out, make it to the right side. Zimmerman, he just seems like he throws a heavy ball. I mean, I'm not quite sure how to describe it if you've never actually experienced what a heavy ball type pitcher is, but it's just like you're throwing a shot put up there. It's you hit it and you feel like you hit it solid, but it just doesn't feel good. Tough to catch, although he does have very good command.
Well, he's turned himself into one of the premier pitchers in the game today. There goes Gomez. Francisco lets him run. The throw is right on the bag, and Gomez is out. And there are 2 outs now. Boy, the Brewers are wasting a lot of opportunities in this game against Jordan Zimmerman.
Yeah, watch how easy it is for Ramos. I mean, he kind of just takes his time and throws a strike to third, and Gomez thrown out easily at third base. And Zimmerman just holding the baseball there.
There's so much urgency with this club to, advance. You don't advance him as a hitter. Gomez takes it on his own to advance as a base runner, and we're seeing a lot of that. The Brewers are frustrated by their lack of execution. Francisco to center field. On the run is Span, and that ball's off the wall. Francisco on his way to second. A double. A 2-out double for Juan Francisco.
And you can see that coming after Gomez gets thrown out. And Francisco takes one off the center field fence. That fastball from Zimmerman, and Francisco, he hit it well, but he didn't get all of it, because if he got all of it, it wouldn't have been in the ballpark. He would have hit a home run. Off the top of the wall and ends up cruising into second with 2 outs. I tell you, hit one over that guy's head, you've done something. And he can run him down.
Here's Bianchi, takes a strike. Saw Bryce Harper in that shot. Say a lot about Bryce Harper. He's one of the great young stars of the game, and to go back up a play like that and to end up in center field, that is impressive. He was right there ready to make a play. Might as well. Better than just standing around.
Well, you better if you're quoted as saying your team's not playing well, you're not playing as a team, and he was the only one to say anything. A lot of veterans in that ball club that felt as though they didn't need to be done, but Harper decided to speak up.
From what I understand, he was pretty calculated in his words as well. I mean, he's not a guy that speaks a lot to reporters after the game. There are so many veteran players on the club, but after that last loss on Wednesday, it was Harper who said this thing's not over, and we've got to figure some things out. He was very vocal in just his second year in the big leagues, and you always wonder how that resonates with some of his older teammates, guys who have been around, guys who are expected to be leaders.
That's something that's changed dramatically over the years. Of course, you wouldn't have seen a 20-year-old in the big leagues back in those days. Of course, Robin was kind of an anomaly in that situation, and it just didn't have guys that young in the big leagues. They spend more time in the minors.
The Yankee chases a breaking ball. Ramos will secure it at first, and a strikeout to end the inning. Brewers going to walk in a double and strand another runner in scoring position.
scoreless game as we head to the 5th. We check in with our Brewers minor league report. An outstanding night for Chris Narveson for Nashville against Las Vegas. 7 shutout innings. He allowed just 3 hits, 1 walk, and threw 8 strikeouts, all on 93 pitches. The Sounds won that one 4-0. And the rehab assignment of Marco Estrada continued tonight in Nashville as well. He went 2 2/3, allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts, all on 47 pitches. 25 of those were strikes. Ron Renneke said before tonight's game, Marco would go a normal 5 days rest. They would determine based on his pitch count and how well he threw the ball if he would need one more start, if and when. And with Gallardo on the disabled list, Gorsolani, a left elbow contusion. The x-rays were negative, so it would be great for the Brewers to get Narveson and Estrada back up to the big league club, guys.
Yeah, you know, Narveson has been taken off the roster, so that would be an interesting decision moving forward. You got to give Narveson a lot of credit. He was designated for assignment. He ends up going back to AAA. Now, he is a year removed from shoulder surgery, so he's obviously pitching for a contract next year, and he certainly wants to pitch his way to the big leagues or back to the big leagues. And Marco Estrada, a little different path. Of course, he's still on the roster and hopeful to come back soon, prove he's ready for next year. Well, that ball's over the head of Gomez. Desmond hit that a lot harder than Gomez thought he did, and that goes as a leadoff double for Ian Desmond.
Yeah, pretty good opposite field power. We've seen that last couple of years, and that one fooled Gomez that time. And not often you're going to see a ball hit on the grass out there in the outfield and drop with Gomez in center. But a leadoff double.
Well, the Nationals getting a runner to second base for the first time. Nobody out. Denard Span. He had been hitting leadoff for most of the year until earlier this month. Matter of fact, right after the Brewers left, about the All-Star break, Davey Johnson dropped him down in the order. Moved Bryce Harper into that leadoff spot. On base percentage just wasn't quite enough to continue to hit leadoff. Johnson shaking up his batting order. Span's on base percentage at .322. It's not terrible. But when you're a desperate team searching for runs, runner goes, throw to third, and that's into left field. And this is going to bring in a run. Well, Desmond comes around to score as the Brewers, one of the worst teams in the National League defensively, give one away right there on a throwing error.
And not sure how bad of a throw it was with just that Bianchi, who was playing in expecting a bunt from Span, had to go back and cover the bag, and he just wasn't in a position to be able to catch that throw. Watch Bianchi go back. I mean, that throw looked like it was right on the bag, actually. Too good of a throw in those circumstances. Bianchi just couldn't handle it.
He had a ball that was a bit misplayed, although hit hard by Desmond. And now he scores a stolen base and an error. They could give that error to Bianchi. We'll see. Nope, it's going to go to Lucroy.
Yeah, that's a tough error for Lucroy, but you can see why they gave it to him. Bianchi was on the move, not able to get to the bag.
So that's how the first run scores.
I guess if you had it do over again, and if Lucroy had it to rethink it, he might just hold on to it, you know, based on where Bianchi was and how he was getting back to the bag. Best thing Bianchi could have done was just to catch it. He wasn't going to be able to make a tag.
Span was Figaro's first strikeout victim. Gorsolani started this game, as Sophia reported. He left with a bruise on the left elbow on a line drive from Worth. Francisco gobbles it up. Span retired. 'd for the first out.
'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the first out. 'd for the fir Hey, tonight's Tavern of the Game winners, the Gaslight West in Greenfield, if they call the Brewers. In the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
One man gone. Figueroa facing Wilson Ramos. He just made an announcement here in the press box. The error has been changed to an E5. Fly ball to right. That'll stay in. 2 outs.
You know, that's a perfect example, and I never like to, talk about this. Perfect example of why they should have a team error. That's a team error. That's a tough error to give to Bianchi because he's on the move, going to the bag. Tough error to give to Lucroy because it was essentially a perfect throw. Now, the decision to throw might have been in question. You really can't pin that on either one of them.
Charter high-speed pitch. See Figueroa and Zimmerman. Big fastballs. Well, they could have given it to you.
I'd be glad to take it. I have no errors this year.
E-broadcaster. I like the team error concept, though. But if it hasn't changed by now, it's unlikely.
No, they're not going to do it.
To.
And not a very good jump by Desmond. The problem is, look at Bianchi. He's running back to the bag. He has no idea where the bag is. The throw's right on the bag.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can give it to Bianchi either, actually.
Well, Zimmerman flies out. Inning is over. The Nationals score on that team error. Aaron last night, and what a great time that must have been. The Johnson Control Stadium Club. Conversation with Hank Aaron, Robin Yount, hosted by Bob Uecker. All the proceeds from the event benefited the Hank Aaron Chasing the Dream Foundation. They're administered locally to help children in the Milwaukee area. It was a great event had by all, and anytime you can get those 3 Hall of Famers in the same room, you are in the presence of greatness. I love how Robin Yount introduced Hank Aaron today. And today was the day they celebrated Robin Yount's 20th anniversary of having his number retired. And he spoke, and he said about Hank Aaron when he introduced him that he is the greatest home run hitter of all time.
No question.
Even though he is statistically not, he is in everybody's hearts and minds.
No doubt.
Especially in this area.
Yep.
Rather, Scooter Gennett pinch hitting, drops a bunt down, and a nice play by Zimmerman. And very few do it better coming in on a ground ball like that than Ryan Zimmerman. Gennett pinch hitting for Figueroa. Well, time for a look at the Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. Robin Yount's number 19 retired 20 years ago this year. It was back in May of '94 that it was retired. And he is the Brewers' current leader in hits and home runs, among many other categories. As Brewers fans like to say, he leads the franchise in hits and home runs and awesomeness. The kid, Robin Yount. He's pretty excited about his Lakeshore Chinooks club.
Yeah.
Got a chance to go to the postseason. It's always a good thing to do if you like tapping into the minor leagues. That's a line drive left center. That's going to get down. Ricky Weeks with a double. His second double of the night, and he's been aboard all 3 times.
Yeah, got on top of one and able to drive it into the gap. Sounded like he didn't get it on the sweet spot. It would have left the ballpark as well. Zimmerman with that fastball up in the strike zone, and Ricky trying to really get on top of that baseball. He does, but got it down in the trademark a little bit, but still able to hit it hard enough to get into second base with a 1-out double. Ricky having a good day.
2 doubles hit by pitch. He is in scoring position with 1 out for Nori Aoki. Brewers have been knocking at the door with runners in scoring position tonight. They have had a man at second base in 4 of the 5 innings tonight, and had a man on in every inning. Doubles from Weeks and Segura and Juan Francisco. Jordan Zimmerman pitching in Wisconsin as a big leaguer for just the 2nd time in his career. Beat the Brewers last year. 3-0 against Milwaukee lifetime. Grew up a huge Brewers fan from Auburndale, Wisconsin, which is about 3.5 hours away. And he's got a big group from Auburndale. I think the whole town is here to see him pitch tonight. Wisconsin Stevens Point, a Division III school. You don't see many D3 players make their way to the big leagues, and those that do typically don't turn out to be among the game's best. But he was a raw, hard thrower at Stevens Point. Refined his craft quickly as a professional, and he's one of the elite in the game. There's a bouncer out to short. Desmond bare hands and throws Aoki out. Boy, that was a special play from the National shortstop.
Yeah, not sure he had to do it, but turned out pretty well. Just to let you know, Auburndale population is over 700,000, so I don't think they're all here.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty crowded tonight. I mean, don't forget the tailgating that's still going on.
Right.
Auburndale, Wisconsin. In his big league debut in '09, he had Tommy John surgery.
You know what? Actually, that's not right.
I didn't think so, but that's okay. I knew you'd come back around.
I didn't read it properly. I don't know what's gotten into me. Maybe it's because I was in Chicago for 3 days.
Or it could have been that cream puff you just wolfed.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I mean, to even think that 700,000 in Auburndale, it's 703. So they might all be here. Man. Say goodnight, Dick.
You look like a shark going after its prey. You know, when the eyes roll back in the head and you manhandled that Wisconsin State Fair cream puff, and now you've
I did not have one.
Completely lost your mind.
703 population.
I knew you'd figure it out.
700,000. You kidding me?
It's all part of the bit. Yeah, they're thinking about expansion in the big leagues to Auburndale.
Yeah.
The booming metropolitan
area.
Skyscrapers
out there.
Yep. They got a subway system going in and
mass transit.
Yeah, here the NFL is thinking about maybe dropping a team in there.
All right, we get it. We get the point.
Oh, she's so disappointed the music stopped. Nice block by Ramos.
Folks in Auburn there were won 700,000.
No, they weren't, because they're all here tonight.
Where are they all if there's that many?
Brewers need a big hit from someone. They got a runner at third with 2 outs. Zimmerman has been tough. Segura lays off. Another good block back there by Ramos.
That curveball down in the dirt. He made sure he didn't hang it. Ramos able to keep it in front.
Kurt Suzuki normally catches Jordan Zimmerman, but tonight Ramos is in there as Davey Johnson is trying to get a little more offense. He's the better hitter of the two. And he's done a good job behind the plate. So the count is full on Segura. And he lost him. First and third with 2 outs. Second time Segura has reached. He had a double back in the third inning. And here comes Lucroy.
Yeah, 3 walks for Zimmerman. That ties the season high.
Lucroy tonight is 0 for 1. He lined out to third with a runner at second base in the third inning. He walked his first time up. Brewers down a run. It was a run that scored on an error. Error charged to Bianchi on a throw from Lucroy. Trying to answer here in the bottom of the 5th. In there for a strike. 0-2. Well placed.
Yeah, both of them right on the corner.
Bouncing ball to Desmond. He'll go the easy way to end the inning. 2 more left on for Milwaukee. Lucroy is out. Zimmerman still a shutout. morning. And right now on FoxSportsWisconsin.com, you can read stories from Paul Emig. He's got daily Packers training camp coverage of today's Badgers Media Day, including a look at new quarterback Tanner McAvoy and a look at how the Bucs roster is taking shape and expected roles for next season. Berg Badenhop will pitch for the Brewers. Ron Renicky got to be pleased with what he got out of Alfredo Figueroa today, coming in at an emergency. He goes 4 innings and just 1 run, and possibly a run that shouldn't have been.
Well, it's probably going to go down as an earned run for Figueroa because, you know, the error scored the run, but then that would have either ground ball to first, a fly ball to right, probably would have scored the run. So it's probably an earned run. I haven't heard officially, and it is. And Badenhop coming in here in the 6th inning.
So Gorzolani started, left with an injury, hit by a line drive by Jason Worth. Hit him right on the elbow. And Figueroa 4 with 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, and now Badenhop with Bryce Harper leading off in the 6th.
And picked up the victory in game 2 of the doubleheader in Chicago on Tuesday. Pitched 2 innings, gave up a couple of runs, but was able to get the win.
Harper tonight is 0 for 2, had a pop up and a strikeout. Participated in his first home run derby this year and an all-star for the 2nd year. He's been in the league 2 years. He's been an all-star twice. He's one of the most popular players in baseball. He's only 20 years of age. All the teenage girls in the Beltway, they're not fans of Justin Bieber. They're fans of Bryce Harper. 34 T-shirts are big in the middle schools in D.C. And that ball is launched way gone. Harper goes up into the Lowe's level. His 16th home run of the season, and it is 2-0 Washington, just like that.
Yeah, got a pitch up in the strike zone. Badenhop down in the count 3-1. And Harper sitting fastball, got it. And hit it hard out there in the right field. And you don't want to leave one up there. I mean, Bryce Harper looking for a pitch right there. He gets it and knocks it out of here. Badenhop just can't work behind an account effectively.
That one's in there for a strike on Rendon, who's been mired in a long slump, a converted third baseman. Nationals loved his bat, so they moved him to second at the big league level. Played very little there in the minor leagues. But he is a struggling hitter right now. Rendon is 0 for 2 tonight. His batting average down to .254. He was hovering around .300 when the Brewers saw him earlier this month. Went through an 0 for 18 stretch just recently. Snapped that on Sunday, actually. It's another guy that made it to the big leagues quickly. He was just drafted in the 2011 draft. 6th overall pick that year out of Rice, and in the big leagues within 2 seasons. Hits that one hard to right field. Aoki right there for it, and the first out. Let's go now to Los Angeles for a Fox Sports 1 game break.
Next batter, the third baseman, number 11, Ryan Zimmerman.
All right, Greg, thanks. Jhoulys Chacin winning that game. He pitched well tonight. Won his 10th of the year. There's a base hit to right by Zimmerman. Ryan Zimmerman singles, the second hit of the inning on Badenhop. So Greg told us about the Cardinals a little earlier tonight. St. Louis roughing up the Reds. That game's in the bottom of the 8th, but the Cardinals lead 13-3 now. So the Cardinals are going to pick up a game on the Pirates. Would get them to a half game back of Pittsburgh if the scores hang up as they are. Remember, Garrett Cole for the Pirates started at 3-0. He is now 5-5. Worth called timeout. The Giants scoreboard in center field went out. I think the beard of Jason Worth in that picture sent the pixels into disarray. Does not compute.
It's kind of startling when you see all those flashing lights. It's one thing to have them go on, when they're up there and everything's working.
Oh, pink doesn't work at all. That is bright. That is a sunburn. If only Corey Hart were here.
Sunglasses
at night.
I wonder if Robin Yount designed that scoreboard to light up like that when the opposing team's hitting.
I think it's a nice strategy.
Yeah. There you go.
Now we're up. Just a little gremlin, that's all. It's a gremlin in the cage. There's a couple of blocks out, but that's okay. We get the idea. It's a beautiful scoreboard. It really is.
It is.
It's been a night for gremlins. Had the microphone during the ceremony was intermittent, and now the video wall goes out. That happens. It's all live. This is not on tape.
All right. Got to be ready for anything.
I was doing a game once. We were doing it's called Big League Baseball. It's 16 through 18-year-olds in the Little League system, the older kids. And we televised the Big League World Series title game from Tucson. And it never rains in Tucson, but it rained on this particular night, and every microphone and camera went out at one point. And there was one microphone left. And I was working with Tommy John.
Wow.
So as Wirtz sends one into the gap in left center, Gomez will cut it off. He fumbles with it. They're going to hold the runner, and Wirtz is into second with a double, and that is his third hit. Second and third. Badenhop getting roughed up here in the 6th inning.
Hey, getting behind the count and leaving pitches up in the zone. That was a 2-1 fastball. And Worth able to get on top of it. Didn't hit it all that great, but put in a pretty good spot. And now second and third and one out.
So anyway, all the microphones went out. The only mic that worked was one of those stick mics, So I had to hold it, call the play-by-play, and then when Tommy was ready to speak, he would hit me on the arm, and I would lean over and hold the mic like lollipop.
Right.
Problem is, it was in my right hand, and I keep score with my right hand. I can't write with my left. So it was my scorebook was a disaster. So the easy thing would have been to switch positions, but Tommy was very superstitious about where he sat. He always liked the play-by-play guy on the left. As LaRoche will be intentionally walked. Well, you'll be happy to know we pulled it off, Rob.
Everything was all right. Got through the game.
Tommy John's been mentioned twice in the last two Brewers broadcasts. Didn't you hit a home run off of him or something?
No, he started a game. Remember we were talking about that on Wednesday, the errors at first base?
Oh, yeah.
He started the game, you know, Mike Witt and Tommy John started the game in which I played first and committed an error.
Ah, the only error you ever committed at first base.
Right.
I get it. I remember now. It's all coming back to me. We called a lot of baseball on the road trip. We sat through some rain.
We got through a lot.
Some double headers. Well, this is a key moment here. Bases loaded. 1 out. The sinker ball pitcher Badenhop struggling here. And Desmond bounces to third. Bianchi to second for 1. Weeks to first in time. Brewers go around the horn. A 5-4-3 double play. And that could be a big moment in this game. Is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Roof is open. It's a beautiful night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's why we live here. Great scene outside. Parking lots are full. Great tailgating before the ball game tonight. A Friday night here at Miller Park. The Brewers find themselves down 2-0. A big double play just turned. The Nationals had the bases loaded, 1 out. Badenhop got a double play from Desmond. And that kept the damage at 2. Badenhop giving up 1 run on 3 hits. So Zimmerman back at it, facing Carlos Gomez to start the bottom of the 6th. Gomez walked, stole a base, and then was caught stealing in the 4th. Brewers have left 7 men on base tonight through the first 5 innings. And in 4 of the 5, they've had a runner at least at second base. How about a text question, Rob? Courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming. Rock, what is your favorite memory as a teammate of Robin Yount?
Well, I mentioned that that catch he made, that final out, and the Juan Nieves no-hitter. That was a great memory, and that's what I think of a lot. But I think there's not one real moment that I can say what I got the most out of or what I remember about Robin Yount. The fact, just the enthusiasm and the energy that he brought to every game. In the dugout before the games, he'd go up and down, slapping high fives and just kind of having a good old time and just kind of energizing everybody before the game. We took the field at home and on the road, and 20 years, and as we talked about, many of those games he had to put himself together. I mean, hot packs and really had some problems, physically. There were some stretches where his back was in bad shape and his shoulder, but still able to get out there and compete. A lot of guys end up on a disabled list if they felt the way Robin Yount did.
Zimmerman strikes out Gomez to start the 6th inning. Well, the catch that Rock is referencing that preserved the no-hitter of Juan Nieves.
That was a great day in Baltimore, and that was part of that 13-0 streak.
Yeah, Yount helping preserve that no-hitter, the only no-hitter in Brewers franchise history. And I always find it fascinating that Juan Nieves, as he's jumping for joy, of all the people to hug, you'd think it'd be the catcher that just worked him through that game. But no, he turned and hugged Paul Molitor.
Wouldn't you?
I'd hug you, Rob.
No, you wouldn't.
What's this?
I think I might have gotten out there a little bit too soon. Look at Molitor. He had a little bit further to go. I mean, who would you go after? Molitor or me?
You got.
But I do appreciate you mentioning it.
Yeah,
that's nice of you. I can always count on you.
Well, I know your mother was upset about that. Gendel strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Zimmerman. It's not a knock on you. I'm just saying, Nieves, had he had a chance to do it over again,
it would have done the same thing.
I'm surprised he didn't run out there and hug Robin Yount.
We talked about that at fantasy camp last year. He and Higuera were Brewers fantasy camp coaches. Incidentally, today was the big introduction of the fantasy campers before the game.
That's right.
But
did everybody get introduced properly?
I think so. We were, I think, in the middle of a pregame hit. We were talking about the Nationals when that was all going on. Juan's now the pitching coach for the Red Sox.
Yep. They joined John Farrell in Boston after many years as the bullpen coach with the Chicago White Sox. The first place Red Sox. Did you see how they won last night?
Yeah.
Scoring 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to win that game. Boston is having a great year. They are 22 games over. They're a game ahead of the Rays in the American League East. By the way, speaking of Hall of Famers, Rollie Fingers is reported to be in the press box, and we are efforting Rollie Fingers to the booth.
He's in the area. I tell you, Zimmerman didn't have much of a curveball early in the ball game, but this inning, it's been a good one. He struck Gomez out on one. He looked at it. It was a called strike 3. That was a good one to Francisco right there.
Full count. Francisco, who homered off Zimmerman a month ago in D.C., doubled off of him in the 4th inning. Hit one off the fence in center field. And did he go? No, he didn't. He checks his swing. It is ball 4. Francisco on for the 2nd time. And that'll send Zimmerman back into the stretch. Send him over 100 pitches as well.
And 4 walks on the night for Jordan Zimmerman. Say, that's like Haley's Comet. You don't see that very often. A season high for him.
So Francisco at first, 2 outs, and Jeff Bianchi at the plate. Reached on an error and struck out. And he pops this one up. Routine for Span. Jordan Zimmerman is through 6. No runs. 2-0 Nationals. By Toyota, Tom Gorzolani had to exit this game in the second inning, hit by a line drive from Jason Worth. He lasted just an inning and a batter. Alfredo Figueroa came in, worked 4 innings and 1 run. Did a nice job for the Brewers. He and Desmond doubled, hit it over the head of Gomez, then stole third. The throw got away. Desmond came in to score. That's how the Nationals scored their first run. Their second run came on a Bryce Harper home run. Harper now is 16 on the season, and it is 2-0. Badenhop is back out there, and Denard Span with a base hit on the first pitch. Well, we've had Robin Yount on, and now we're joined by Rollie Fingers. So we have a baseball, and we have a hot dog.
And a hot dog.
And a Chevrolet.
That's not
and
me.
a Rollie Fingers, Hall of Famer. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I mean, I know you've probably been to a few ballparks, but a hot dog is as good as we could do tonight, or that's what you wanted?
No, that's good. No, at the old ballpark, you used to be able to get a brat in about the 6th inning. You know, you give a ball to a kid, go get me a brat, and that's how you ate down in the ballpark.
See, now you thought I was messing around when I told those stories.
Yeah, so that's how you saved all those games.
Oh, yeah. You got to have
nutrition.
a brat in about the 5th or 6th inning, and then you're ready.
That's very cool. Well, what did you think of the ceremony today? You're here to support Robin Yount, of course, and honoring the 20th anniversary of his number being retired. I thought it was interesting what he said about you. He said there would be no 82 World Series without Rollie Fingers.
That was nice of him to say that. You know, I've had more people in this town come up to me and say, you know, I wish you were healthy. It would have been different. And I mean, it's every time I come here, I get that.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice of him to say that. But Robin, what a career he had, and in this town, playing his whole career in Milwaukee, and you know, the 81 and the 82 seasons that we had here were probably the best times I had in baseball with the teams we had. We had a lot of fun because we were winning.
You know, watching you guys, you know, that group of guys, you know, with Harvey, you know, 82, even 81, and you know, it seemed like you guys don't see each other for a while. You get together, and it's like you've never skipped a beat. It's like you've been together like all year.
Oh, it's great when you start remembering things. You know, when I'm going to be 67 and I forget a lot of things, but I get with these guys, I start remembering plays and pitches and what we did and crazy stuff, and it's fun to get back with these guys.
Yeah. Now 5 seasons with the Brewers. Hall of Famer Rollie Fingers inducted in 1992. There's a snap throw to first. Just back is Denard Span. What goes through your mind, Rollie, as you come into Miller Park? You see this kind of crowd. Hasn't been a great year, obviously, for the Brewers, but some of the memories, some of the things that come to your mind when you come back.
Oh, it's great coming back to Milwaukee. I mean, the fans here are unbelievable. Even when I came back in 81, this town is made for baseball, and you put a winner on the field, you're going to pack the house. And you know, right now things aren't going real good, but you still got a packed house here. So it's nice to come back and see the fans still coming out.
Now Bert Badenhop facing Wilson Ramos.
You know, Rollie, as you watch games around Major League Baseball and you see guys come out and they're posting, you know, 30, 40, 45 saves. I mean, do you ever wonder, you know, your career, if you were able to do that, you know, pitch 1 inning, get a save, and now you had 2 3-inning saves.
I had four innings. I went 7 innings in one game. You know, that was a long time ago though. But yeah, it's a little different now. You know, today you're more or less a 1-inning pitcher. It's crazy with the way they do it, but it seems to be working. I mean, a lot of times I see the setup guy come in the 8th inning and strike out the side, and then he's out of the game. They bring in the closer, and I don't know why. If I had a guy and he struck out the side in the 8th inning, he's going back out in the 9th. I don't care what kind of stuff he's got.
Oh, but he's the setup man,
That's
Rollie.
it.
That's
his
the
job.
job.
Well, they say the hardest out that gets the last one.
Runner takes off. Lucroy's throw is on the bag in time to get the speedy Denard Span. Nice throw by the Brewer catcher. Cutting down a leadoff base runner. And the first out of the inning. Good throw, Rock.
Yeah, he's been throwing the baseball well. Got off to a rough start this year, but that one right on the bag and a very close bang bang. Umpire rings him up. You know, Ricky with a quick tag. Boy, could have gone either way.
Yep.
Well, Rollie, you know, we sit here, we watch games, we look at rosters, and you know, most teams have a 12-man pitching staff.
It's a little different now. When I was playing, you know, we broke camp with 9 pitchers.
Right.
And nowadays you get into you know, 13, 12, 13, sometimes even 14 pitchers, and everybody has a certain job. I mean, from the 5th inning on, each guy, right-hander or left-hander, knows what he's going to do. In the 6th inning, the guy in the 7th inning knows what he's going to do. And it's just the way the game is played. That's why you see so many pitching changes.
A base hit to right center. Ramos with a single. The Hall of Fame ceremonies last week. The thumbnail sketch of Rollie Fingers. There's not enough room on the graphic to go through all that you accomplished, but one of the more impressive accomplishments, the fact that you won a Cy Young and an MVP, and we just saw that a couple of years ago with Justin Verlander. Had been since Eckersley the last time, but I'm not sure. You know, I thought we may never see a pitcher win an MVP award again.
Well, you know, the year that I won it, I think there was a couple of guys that I didn't think I was going to win the MVP. I was more than happy with a Cy Young. I didn't even think I was going to win the Cy Young award. It was pretty close, but I think John McCaddy, I think it was, with the Oakland A's, was in second. And I just happened to get lucky. I just had one of those years where nothing went wrong. I just throw my glove out there and get guys out. So, but having the ball club that I had behind me, it's tough not to get guys out with the infield we have with Robin and Paul Molitor and G. Gantner.
Yeah. We'll take a break here. We got a pitching change. More with Hall of Famer Rollie Fingers when we continue. First pitch looked like a four-seam fastball right to Rollie Fingers, and fundamentally sound with two hands.
I just want to make sure he didn't bounce it on me.
He said he was thinking about bouncing it, but he bounced one on Jim Gantner, and he would never do that to a fellow Hall of Famer.
Well, I'm glad
so
he
he wanted to throw it chest high for you.
He did good.
Nice moment before the game. So before the game, Robin Yount was here, Rollie Fingers, Hank Aaron, Bob Uecker. Introduced all of you guys. That was quite a who's who of baseball greats here at Miller Park before the game. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Getting with me and Robin were downstairs in the clubhouse for about 45 minutes just telling stories and rekindling memories. So it was a fun night here.
And how ironic is it, Rock, that on a night when Rollie Fingers joins us on the air, John Axford is clean shaven.
What happened to his mustache?
He's as professional of a mustache in Milwaukee since you played here, and there's nothing there now. He's even broken out.
I saw him in the clubhouse and I said, "Nah, that's not John. That's no facial hair." I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, one of his first years. I mean, he started turning it up a little bit.
I remember when he had that.
Paying homage to the greatest handlebar mustache ever. So there's a strikeout for Axford.
So you were at the Hall of Fame ceremony this year. Kind of a different ceremony this year. I mean, nobody elected
not a whole lot of hoopla, but 33 guys came back. It was kind of weird, eerie feeling to be on the stage and you're missing about 20 guys.
Right.
But it was still okay. We still had our dinner, and Bud Selig was there, and the rest of the Hall of Famers. We always have a dinner on Sunday after the induction ceremony. So it was still a fun time.
That must be something to be in that dinner with all those great players.
Oh yeah, the first year I went in, I'm sitting there in awe. Just you got Henry Aaron, you got Ted Williams, Whitey Ford, Yogi Berra, Koufax. I mean, all the guys that I grew up idolizing, and here I am sitting having a dinner with them. you know, I was afraid to say anything. So it was fun. It's been fun every year. I've gone back every year since I got in '92, and every year it's a great time.
And you'll make up for it next year as far as bodies, you would think. You think there's going to be quite on the list, quite a few on the list.
A lot of people possibly coming in. I mean, we even got 3 managers, Joe Torre and Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox.
Right.
And there's probably 7 or 8 players that have got a good chance of getting voted in. So we'll see what happens.
Well, visiting with Rollie Fingers as we watch Bryce Harper with 2 outs. Take strike 1. How do you look at the game right now, Rollie? I mean, this is a perfect example. Harper, 20 years of age, already a big star in this game. How do you view the game from your seat?
Well, I think Harper's going to be a good ball player. I've watched him on TV. He's got a great swing. He's young. I think he's taking it okay. I don't think it's going to his head right now. But I think he's going to be a great ball player. I mean, if there's an indication right there. Just went the other way with a pitch on the inside part, inside out.
Yeah, 95 miles an hour. I mean, pulling the hands in.
Yep, pull the hand in and just drop the head back a little bit and hit a line. That's like a Tony Gwynn swing.
Yeah. Do you ever sit back and watch and you watch a player like Harper and think, how would I pitch him? Do you think, what would you do to a guy like that?
Guys like this, they're good fastball hitters. I turned out to be. I had a lot of control. That's what I got by on, and I developed a forkball later in my career. I'd be showing him a steady diet of off-speed pitches, you know, and moving the ball around. You have to learn how to pitch up here, and guys like that are hard to pitch to. He's more like a George Brett or a Rod Carew type of guy. Wade Boggs, line drive hitter, but he's still got power too. He's got all the tools.
Talk about your philosophy on the outside corner, and your name is always attached to the late inning philosophy of pitching, where you never want to get beat inside, and you stayed away.
I always stayed away, especially ninth inning. If I have a 1 or a 2-run lead in the ninth inning, it was away, and if I threw something inside, it was a mistake. It was a breaking ball in the outside corner. If I was going to get beat, I was going to get beat by 3 hits to right field as opposed to 1 home run to left, and that's the way I looked at it. And I've always done that, and I learned that a long time ago watching Catfish Hunter. Kenny Holtzman when I was with the Oakland A's, Jim Mudcat Grant. We watched them pitch, and they weren't overpowering, but they always stayed on the outside part of the plate, and percentages are always with you when you stay on the outside part of the plate.
Everybody, I think, wants to do that, but what's the challenge in that? You obviously have to have great command on that side of the plate, especially with a right-handed
Well,
hitter.
you need 3 things to pitch in the big leagues. You need control, you need control, and you need control. If you have all 3 of those things, you're going to get by. One of those things, you're going to have some problems. But I watched the All-Star game, and I watched Mariano Rivera throw that 1 inning that he pitched. He threw 14 pitches. He threw 14 cutters. He hit the glove 12 times. Yeah. I mean, he actually hit the glove 12 times, and both times that he missed off the plate. He didn't make a mistake on the plate. And, if you're going to make a mistake, don't miss on the plate, because it's going to go a long way.
How cool is that? Rollie Fingers watching Mariano Rivera, and you'll be welcoming him in your club in 5 years.
I'm pretty sure he'll be going in on the first ballot. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
What a great career, and as far as closers go, and you guys are a pretty tight group in the Hall of Fame, and Mariano Rivera, the 5th year or the first year he's eligible, 5 years after his playing days come to an end, which is this year. He's retiring.
This is probably his best year he's had. Right. He got sitting on about 37, 38 saves, and still throwing the ball in the 90s. I mean, that's tough to walk away from there.
And last year, people wondering if he was ever going to come back.
I know, after hurting his knee.
Yeah.
Rollie Fingers joining us here in the booth. I would love to, I don't know if we have enough time here with 2 outs, but maybe just a taste of what a Hall of Fame conversation is like at Cooperstown with you guys.
Well, I sat at a table every year with the same guys. There's Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Carlton Fisk, and Joe Morgan. We all sit at the same table. We all bring a bottle of wine for dinner, and we don't leave until all the bottles are gone. So,
nice.
And so the conversations are pretty cool.
That's going to be a base hit through, and this is going to bring in a run. Ramos will score. Harper makes it all the way to third on a base hit to left. Nationals have a 3-0 lead now as Anthony Rendon singles and drives in his 15th run.
Number 11, the third baseman,
Well, a struggling hitter gets a pitch that he likes. The Nationals have been pretty effective in this inning on fastballs in Raleigh. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you get beat inside, and I always refer to late in the game the old Raleigh fingers theory of pitching, and well, Axford gets beat inside here.
That is now 4 hits in the inning for the Nats.
I sat and had a long conversation one time with Ted Williams, and I asked him, what's the hardest pitch for you to hit? And he said something down hard and going away from me. And so that's why I stay away.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
One of the best of all time, right?
He still hit like 320 on those pitches,
Yeah.
but it's, you get the
I mean, he
idea.
hit 400 over the plate.
That's right.
And they say throw the ball over the plate, but if you do, you're going to get killed somewhere.
Now, first and third here with 2 outs, and Zimmerman at the plate, and Axford deals a strike. That's a good spot. That's your spot right there.
96 miles an hour, yes, on the outside black at the knees.
You're not going to do much
You
with that
make some
pitch.
money. You make some money. You throw there all the time.
Yeah.
And you see the first 2 pitches right there, almost in the same spot to
Yep.
get him ahead in the count. And Axford shaking off a few from Luke Roy.
Looked like he's won something inside. No, he's going away.
Now, I was thinking about that conversation you had regarding all the Hall of Famers you sit at the table with, and each one of you bring a bottle of wine. You're not talking about like $5 bottles of wine either.
Oh no, these guys they love their wine. Koufax
Yeah.
loves his wine. Tom Seaver has his own vineyard.
Right.
Don Sutton he loves his wine. So we all bring some pretty good stuff.
I think the tail end of that conversation into the night would be the most intriguing.
The tail end of the conversation, I don't think we remembered what we talked about. The first part of the conversation.
It ends where it began.
Exactly.
Who's the alpha dog in that group, by the way? Who of all these great players, who's the one carrying the conversation, or is it all just bounce around?
Well, a lot of. I think Tom Seaver talks a lot. Joe Morgan, you can't shut up, Joe Morgan. He's always got something to say.
He used that skill very well for many years on the air, didn't he?
Yeah. But everybody throws their 2 cents in when we start.
Now, what do some of the other tables look like? Does it go by era, position?
A lot of the old timers like to sit together. Jim Bunning and Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, they all sit at the same table. Gaylord sits with some of the Giants, with Cepeda and Mays when he comes. And pitchers kind of stay together too. Then there's a table with all the infielders, Ozzie Smith and Alomar and Yount and Molitor. So. Tony Gwynn sets at the there's an outfielder table. They got outfielders and infielders. Everybody just kind of grabs their own table.
Oh man, how cool would that be to be a fly on that wall? Man, so great. Raleigh Fingers spent a little time with us earlier today. Had a ceremony for Robin Yount, the 20th anniversary of Brewers retiring his jersey, and of course Raleigh's number is retired up there as well, number 34. Axford trying to get through the 7th. Zimmerman had a good cut, and the count remains at 2-2. How much baseball do you watch these days?
Not a whole lot. I live in Las Vegas. I'd like to go out and see some of the AAA affiliate there, but it's so hot. You go out in the afternoon and it's 110 degrees, and you can't sit on those aluminum seats at 110 degrees. So I don't go to too many ball games out there, and this is the first ball game I think I've watched in about 3 months.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't get a chance to get to the ballpark very much.
Well, Zimmerman, a liner right to Weeks to end the inning. Raleigh, thanks for being with us.
All right,
we'll let you get back to your hot dog.
Oh yeah, I got one more bite.
That's great.
Thanks, Raleigh. Appreciate it.
Hall of Famer Raleigh Fingers has been our guest.
this one 3-0, but it was a who's who of Brewers greats to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the retirement of Robin Yount. Owner Mark Atanasio was joined by Raleigh Fingers, Hank Aaron, Doug Melvin also on the ceremony. And on our AT&T Twitter poll, we asked Brewers fans to take a look back at his illustrious Hall of Fame career. 52% said what stood out the most was that moment on September 9th, 1992. His 3,000th hit, an infield single against Jose Mesa, the 17th player to do so, and 32% remembering that World Series. And it's been fun to hear from Robin and Raleigh throughout the night. So Brewers fans sharing their fun memories of Robin Yount with us on Twitter as well.
It's so cool to, right now they're in the back of our booth eating hot dogs and having a cold beer.
Just like everybody else, right?
That's awesome.
They were just tremendous baseball players.
I feel like putting the headsets down and joining them. You got it the rest of the inning?
I want to have a hot dog, too.
Here's Ryan Matthews. He'll take over as Zimmerman goes 6 shutout innings. 3-0 Nationals. We move to the bottom of the 7th, and Logan Schaefer is going to pinch hit. And the hard-throwing Matthews, the new pitcher for Davey Johnson.
Yeah, only 17 games for Matthews. He was on the disabled list for 58 games with a broken right hand. Came off the DL at the end of July.
Bert Badenhop gave up a run in the 6th inning. Axford giving up a run in the 7th. Brandon Kensler is loosening, and he'll have the 8th inning. Brewers are down 3-0 despite a number of opportunities to score. Nationals have scored in each of the last 3 innings, single tallies.
Yeah, 8 base runners. I should say 9 base runners for the Brewers. 4 hits, 4 walks, and a hit batter. But Jordan Zimmerman able to keep the Brewers off the board. Brewers 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Schaefer as a pinch hitter is 8 for 32. He's a .302 career pinch hitter in just a couple of seasons. He's done a good job in this role. Playing with a balky knee, and Caleb Gendel is swinging the bat well. So Renicky playing the hot hand and giving Schaefer a little time to heal. One ball, 2 strikes. And he got him. Matthews strikes him out for the first out of the inning. Zimmerman had 5 Ks. Now Matthews is first. Brings the top of the order to the plate. Ricky Weeks. 2 hits. He was hit by a pitch. A couple of doubles. You see his night at the plate presented by Wendy's.
Yeah, Ricky using the whole field today. Double down the line, as you mentioned. So it'll be important for Ricky to continue to swing the bat well. Ron Renicky has stuck him in that leadoff spot quite a bit lately.
Slow roller. Desmond ranging over. Boy, what an arm. Awkward throwing motion there, an angle, but he zips it across. No contest. 2 outs. All-star shortstop last year. Well, Jordan Zimmerman got his July numbers erased a little bit with his first August start tonight. And an ERA in the 7s in the month of July. Starts August in fine fashion with 6 shutout innings. Well, this Nationals pitching staff has been outstanding. They've run into a little bit of hard times in July, but for the most part, it's been one of the better staffs in the National League, and you wonder where they would be without it. I mean, they're already 4 games under. They're 11.5 back of the Atlanta Braves, getting very little offensive production.
Well, they've got so much confidence in their starting rotation. They only have 6 relievers in their bullpen. That's 11 pitchers. I mean, not many teams only have 6 guys in their pen. Starters go deep. Very effective relief pitchers out of the bullpen. Soriano, the closer. You got Tyler Clippard and Stammen down there. A couple of left-handers. They just haven't been able to score a lot of runs.
Bouncer to Desmond. And an easy inning for Ryan Matthews. 3 up, 3 down. Couple of ground outs to short. Brandon Kintzler, next man up. Series and this brief 3-game homestand. We're headed to the 8th with the Nationals coming up. We invite you to set your compass due north Thursday nights on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Bill and Laura take a look at the stories and adventures of outdoor enthusiasts in the upper Midwest. Due North Outdoors Thursday at 6:30 p.m. only Fox Sports Wisconsin. And a crowd of nearly 35,000 in attendance tonight. Hoping the Brewers have a late rally in them. Brandon Kintzler trying to keep the Nats at 3. He's been pitching very well as of late.
Very dependable down there in the bullpen. Kind of a middle relief role set up from time to time, but Kintzler's putting together a nice season. Last pitched on Tuesday in game 1, tossed a scoreless 7th inning, gave up a hit and struck out a batter. It was Brandon Kintzler's birthday yesterday, as a matter of fact, 29 years old.
Speaking of birthdays, we send our happy birthday wishes to our terrific technical director, Lindsey Gresham. Happy birthday, Lindsey. You can take the rest of the night off. And if she leaves, bad things happen like that. Switching from one camera to the other. Or like that. Oh, their name is in lights. Yeah, just like their parents always said they would. Worth out for the first time tonight. 3 hits in this game. Finally retired by Brandon Kintzler. Adam LaRoche with 1 away. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. A bunch of games have gone final in the big leagues tonight. A lot of East Coast baseball this evening. Rockies beat the Pirates. Cardinals trying to move within a half game. They finished off the Reds. 13-3 was the final in that one. Shelby Miller won again. He's 11-7 now. 2.89 ERA. He beat Bronson Arroyo. So the Pirates are a half game up on St. Louis. Cincinnati stays 5.5 back. Cubs lost earlier today. Dodgers beat them. Dodgers have won 12 consecutive road games. And they are now 10 games over 500. The only infielder on that side. LaRoche finds him for out number 2. Now look at tonight's Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. Ian Desmond bouncing into a 5-4-3 double play. That was a big one with the bases loaded. Keeps the Brewers in striking distance. Desmond scored the first run. He doubled, stole a base, and then on a throwing error on that steal came in to score the first run. Washington is trying to keep pace with the Braves, who won 6-4 tonight over the Phillies. Little jam shot, and Kinsler makes it look easy. Boy, he is really pitching well. Scoreless inning for Kinsler. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Brewers down 3.
Find themselves down 3-zip to the Nationals. Enroll in a world-class experience this summer as Quick Trip presents the first year of the Brewers Baseball Academy. These instructional kid camps are coming to a city near you. Visit brewers.com/camps today.
On our way to the bottom of the 8th, Tyler Clippard, the new Nationals pitcher. He's sitting on a 15-inning scoreless streak. The Nationals setup man for Rafael Soriano is on to work the 8th. The Brewers will send up the middle of their order: Segura, Lucroy, and Gomez.
Well, pitched last time he pitched was on Saturday. It's been a while for Clippard. That was against the Mets. Scoreless inning, a couple of strikeouts. He's got a terrific changeup. Good numbers for Clippard.
Clippard has won 6 games out of the bullpen this year, tied for the second most in all of baseball. Had 32 saves last year. He filled in for Drew Storen. Storen was coming back from surgery. And Clippard did a nice job until they got towards the end, and then Storen and Clippard struggled in that closer's role. So the Nationals made an important move this offseason, acquiring Rafael Soriano as their closer. He became a free agent, Soriano. So that put Clippard and Storen in setup roles. Soriano's done a good job as their closer. And the thing that hurt him the most last year, they're hardly getting to use him that often. The thing that they were not expecting to go south was their offense. And that's what has them 4 games under 500 starting play today. Segura takes ball 3. Now, late in the season last year, the Brewers were in D.C., and that's where it all went wrong for Clippard. He gave up a lead, he blew a save, and he did not remain in the closer's role after that. That's when Storen officially took over.
Man, they were on him pretty good in Washington in that series when he blew that save. I mean, he was going through his troubles, and they couldn't get out of it. Much different this year. Ball back command with the fastball and his changeup, one of the best in the business.
Well, count to Segura. Got him. Struck him out. Segura, I think he's still hot about that 3-1 call by Jerry Meals. Put him in a 3-2 count. First out of the 8th. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Tomorrow it'll be Dan Herron and Donovan Hand. Donovan still looking for his first big league victory. One of the many rookies that the Brewers have on their current 25-man roster.
I had Dan Herron talking about change-ups. He's got a good one.
Lucroy in the air, deep left center. That is way back there. Span looks up, and it is gone. Jonathan Lucroy breaks the shutout.
We talked about the slugging percentage for Jonathan Lucroy when we came on the air tonight. A terrific month of July, and the Brewers are hoping it's going to continue in August. And here's a good start. Right down the middle of the plate, and Lucroy drives it out of here to center field. Look at that extension. Head down and good follow through, and that ball way back up on the concourse out there in center.
Lucroy's 16th home run. That snaps the scoreless inning streak for Tyler Clippard. And Lucroy connecting again. He starts the month of August just like he left off in July. Hit 7 homers in July. And in his first game of the month of August, he goes deep again. Brewers within 2 now.
Lucroy really exaggerating, getting that top hand over on that high fastball, and he did it and knocked it out of here.
Lucroy, with every home run, adds to his career high. It had been 12. He had 12 home runs each of the last 2 years. And with that RBI, Lucroy with 58 for the season. He's 1 RBI away from a career high in that category as Gomez walks. And just like that, the Brewers are going to bring the tying run to the plate.
The Brewers have drawn 5 walks tonight, but have not been able to plate one of them.
No activity in the bullpen. She's been dancing all night long. She is going to sleep like a rock tonight. Great time at the ballpark. That's what you call owning your space, Rob. She was owning her space.
And no one dares tell her to sit down.
She's got the net. Got everything she needs right there.
Got the Elm poster.
That's good for swatting people. Now the Brewers put themselves in a position to tie this game up with a long ball. Kendall has 1 career home run in the big leagues. It's good for double digits just about every year in the minor leagues, though. He's not a big guy, but he packs some punch in that left-handed swing. Long look by Clippard, and he deals up high, ball one.
And trying to hold Gomez close, trying to freeze him and Gindel.
Juan Francisco due to hit next. Gomez at first. Another long look by Clippard, and he finally throws to first base. The Marlins got a great night out of Jose Fernandez tonight. Talented young 20-year-old who made the All-Star team. He struck out 14 batters against Cleveland in 8 innings. 8 shutout innings, 14 Ks. He is emerging as one of the best young pitchers in the game. Some great young talent.
Yeah.
Matt Harvey, Jose Fernandez,
young.
Steven Strasburg here with the Nationals. Zimmerman. Two balls and a strike. Gomez stays put. Gindel fouls it off. 2-2. Count remains at 2-2.
And first pitch that Clippard has tried to come inside. Everything away to Caleb. And he sit on that changeup. I mean, he's throws so many changeups. It's such a good pitch for him. He's very effective with the fastball in. A changeup really slows your bat down.
We'll see if Gomez wants to run here. 2-2 the count. And Gindel into left. Harper for the out, the second out. Saw Harper shade his eyes for a moment, maybe trying to cover that ribbon board that can sometimes disrupt an outfielder. Harper's homer tonight. He hit a home run in the 6th. That gave the Nationals a 2-0 lead. They added one in the 7th on a single by Rendon. That's the ribbon board that can sometimes, if the baseball just sits in there perfectly, it's tough to see it out of there.
And sometimes that ribbon board is lit up like a Roman candle. Sometimes the light's going around and making it difficult on the outfield.
2 outs for Francisco. There goes Gomez. It's a strike. Throw to second is late. Gomez steals his second base of the night. That's 29 for him. And now a base hit. The Brewers could climb within a run.
And Gomez with a great jump and not even close, able to stay on the bag. Number 100 for the Brewers as a team, leading all of baseball.
Be a big run to pick up for the Crew here in the 8th. They're down 2. Run is in on a Lucroy home run. Got Henderson in case the Brewers take the lead or tie. Gonzalez otherwise. No balls, 2 strikes. And down he goes. Francisco strikes out. Clippard surrenders a run on a home run by Lucroy. And the Brewers are within 2. It's 3-1. We're headed to the 9th. Nationals coming up.
Moment of the game. Robin Yount honored pregame ceremony, honoring his 20th year of retirement. Of course, the kid, the Hall of Famer, loved by all. It was a fun night, Davey.
Oh, it certainly was, you know. And one of the things that strikes me about Robin, because he was such a great player and great athlete, was the fact that he was MVP at 2 positions, shortstop and center field. And that's saying something.
It sure is. Raleigh Fingers was here. Hank Aaron was here. Fun night to remember and reflect back. No doubt about that. Now we'll see if the Brewers can rally. They're down 3-1 as we go to the top of the 9th inning. We'll have full game coverage coming up. Brewers Live postgame plus our instructional. And we'll hear from Ron Renicky. Brian.
All right, Craig and Davey, thank you. As Michael Gonzalez takes over for the Crew. 55th appearance of the season. There's a lot of big numbers for games pitched for the Brewers bullpen this year, and a lot of that came in the first half. Gonzalez, the former National, has been effective for the Brewers. Thought Gonzalez might be traded near the trade deadline. You can still make moves toward the end of August, the waiver wire transaction period. You have to just clear other ball clubs. Everybody has a chance to claim you on waivers, but if you do clear waivers, then you can be traded to whoever you can work out a deal with. And perhaps Gonzalez might be headed to a contender. Left-handers seem to be a much desired position. Denard Span leading off. He's 1 out of 3 tonight. Lucroy threw him out trying to steal a base in the 7th inning. Nationals lead 3-1 on 10 hits. They've out-hit the Brewers 10-5.
Hey, talk about Gonzalez and all the work that he's had. He is now, with his 55 appearances, he's #1 in games pitched in the National League. So he has worked quite a bit.
Pitched in more than half the games the Brewers have played this year, which is a lot for a reliever.
Remember back in the 70s, Mike Marshall, over 100 games he got into out of the bullpen.
Crazy.
Not sure how many appearances he had the following year. How many could he have had? What was it, 108, something like that?
Yeah, 108. Won the Cy Young Award as a reliever. Now Marshall was one of the first real scientist pitchers. He threw a screwball.
Didn't throw hard at all. He just had that screwball and threw strikes. And
106 games in 74.
That what it was.
So he was a reliever. He appeared in 106 games. He had 15 wins and a 2.42 ERA. He had 21 saves. Won the Cy Young Award. Little flare over the head of Bianchi. A base hit for Span, who's on his way to second with a double.
Now just throws the bat at it. Bianchi playing behind the bag, but shaded over toward the hole. Just a little bit of a cue shot off the end of the bat and dumps it down the line for a double. Not a bad pitch by Gonzalez, but a good piece of hitting by Span.
And his second hit. Here's Wilson Ramos now. If you're wondering who the Brewers franchise record holder in games pitched, as Ramos dumps a single to right. And a tough start for Gonzalez here. Neither ball hit all that well, but 2 hits, has runners at the corners with nobody out.
That was Ken Sanders, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ken Sanders in 71, he appeared in 83 games.
That's over half.
Ray King in 82 appeared in 82 games, appeared in 2001 was the season. They're 1 and 2. Gonzalez has a shot at that. Scott Hairston will bat. Traded to the Nationals from the Cubs. One of those early deals, one of the 5 trades the Cubs made. Now, I got to know Mike Marshall pretty well. He was kind of the mentor of my college baseball program. So he wasn't our coach, but he was the mentor of our pitching coach, and had a full workout. I mean, it was a full plan, and you stuck by the workout. And I'm talking some of the most unorthodox things you can imagine. I remember watching these pitchers throw shot puts up against these giant plywood boards to strengthen their arm. I thought they were out of their minds. But I went into that, it goes to St. Mary's University. I went into that college with major arm problems, and I started doing all that. My arm, it never hurt again, and my arm strength increased so much. And even to this day, the way he warmed up, I can still go out and warm up very quickly, even though I never throw a baseball. It's just the way you do it.
Got a bunch of shot puts in your backyard, do you?
No, I don't do the shot puts.
You don't do that anymore? So it has long-lasting effects.
Throwing shot puts and softballs and all of those guys threw screwballs.
He wasn't a big guy either, was he?
Nope. Mike Marshall, he was, I want to say maybe 5'10".
Right.
180 pounds, 190. As a matter of fact, the head baseball coach at Cardinal Stritch, Mike Zalecki, one of my teammates in college, he threw the screwball. He had a mid-90s fastball with a screwball, got drafted, and made it to Double-A with the Rockies using the Mike Marshall Foundation. Well, Gonzalez strikes out the pinch hitter, Scott Hairston, for the first out.
How many games did Mike Marshall appear in the next year? A good slider from Michael Gonzalez. Has Hairston out in front. You saying there?
It does. So the year he pitched in 106 games, that was 74. The next year, 75, 57 games. He had a 3.29 ERA, made the All-Star team that year. And he never appeared in more than 60 games until very late in his career, when he had a 90-game season with the Twins.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
90?
90 games as a 36-year-old with the Twins.
I wonder what happened in 75.
They lost 14 games.
Wasn't as effective, so he wasn't used as much.
He made the All-Star team that year. The doctor, Mike Marshall, not the first baseman of the Dodgers by the same name. Ball and a strike on Harper. Right off the end of the bat, foul. You ever catch a screwball? Anybody have a screwball?
Oh yeah, yeah. Right-handers and left-handers. Knuckleballs in the minor league, you name it, I've caught it, or I've tried to catch it.
A good screwball from a right-handed pitcher actually breaks like a left-handed curveball.
You know who had a screwball? Ted Higuera.
Yeah, that's a good one. What was the signal for a screwball with Teddy Higuera? Change up?
Yeah, kind of. That was his change. He had a straight change too, but he would throw the screwball off of the changeup, which was okay.
Mm-hmm. One and two on Harper. Gonzalez misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's been a fun night tonight. We've had Robin Yount in the booth. Raleigh Fingers joined us after the ceremony before the game. Boy, that didn't miss by much. A changeup from Gonzalez. He didn't get the call. Oh no, that was a slider. Pretty close. Harper out to second, gets by Weeks. And another run will score. That should have been a double play ball. Weeks mishandled it.
Should have been a strikeout the pitch before. What it should have been.
It looked like that ball fooled Weeks, as if it was kind of a changeup off the bat. He hit it toward the end of the bat.
When he plays the in-between hops, what he does, either charge it or go back. You don't go stand right there, and that ball just eats him up. Just couldn't play the hop. You see where he is. Either go back on the long hop, or you go in for the short hop. And he got caught in between.
And that'll be an error on Weeks. And give Harper an RBI, I'm assuming. So he has 2 ribbies tonight, 2 hits, including a homer. 4-1. Nationals get their run back. Gonzalez spending the last season with the Nationals. He was part of that division winning ball club. He and Gorzolani pitching out of the bullpen. Michael was with the Orioles in 2011 and 10. He pitched for Rick Kranitz in Baltimore. There's a liner to short. Segura for an easy double play. Harper lost count of the outs. And a double play to end it, but the Nationals score a run, and the Brewers are down 3 as we head to the bottom of the 9th.
punched, I'm going down.
Good to hear Reckless Kelly, the Braun brothers, taking us to the bottom of the 9th inning. Bernie is hoping for some activity up on that slide as the Brewers find themselves down by 3. 4-1 our score, and it's going to be Rafael Soriano in the pitch for the Nationals, their closer.
Yeah, 26 saves. That's 4th in the National League. Has converted 14 of his last 15. Had 42 saves with the Yankees last year, and in 2010 had 45 saves. So he's been pretty impressive.
Now the saves last year, he took over for the injured Mariano Rivera, and that earned him a clause out of his contract, made him a free agent, and he ends up in Washington with Rivera coming back to the Yankees. Went from a very high-priced setup man in New York to the closer of the Nationals. Bianchi leads it off for the Brewers. Chases a high fastball, and it's 0-2. Now tomorrow night the Brewers will send Donovan Hand to the mound. Dan Herron for Washington. Don't forget tomorrow's game an hour earlier. So we are on the air at 5:30 tomorrow for Brewers Live. 6:10 first pitch. Kyle Lohse will pitch the finale against Taylor Jordan. A lazy fly ball to center for the first out.
Yeah, Soriano not one of those guys that gives you the big fastball. The fastballs that he threw to Bianchi were at about 90. 83-mile-per-hour breaking pitch. He just relies on command. He throws strikes.
Number 18, Chris Davis.
Chris Davis announced as the pinch hitter. Things did not start well for the Brewers tonight. Tom Gorzolani was hit by a line drive off the bat of Jason Worth in the 2nd inning. The first batter he faced in the 2nd. Had to leave the game with a left elbow contusion. One of 3 hits for Worth tonight. Figueroa did a nice job out of the pen, giving the Brewers 4 innings. But they were in scramble mode, and now the bullpen pretty well taxed going into the rest of the series. The Brewers will not have an off day until next Monday when they get to Texas. The next road trip starts this coming Monday in San Francisco, and then 3 in Seattle, 4 in San Francisco, 3 in Seattle, then an off day, and then 2 against Texas. As Davis strikes out. Soriano's making it look easy so far.
Yeah, that's a pretty good breaking ball, wasn't it? I mean, late breaker, keeping it down, and Davis just waves at it. It just gets ahead in the count and puts the baseball where he wants it. What did Raleigh Fingers say? Control, 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 right?
Those are the 3 things you need to be successful.
Right. It's like real estate. Location, location, location. It's the same thing. Put it where you want it, and you're going to have success.
And there's so much that goes into that. It's a lot more detailed than just want to. Everybody wants to, but you have to put a lot of time in with your mechanics.
Yeah.
You got to work at it. You have to create the muscle memory to be able to deliver that pitch in the pressure moments. That's why those closers are rare breeds. It was great listening to Raleigh Fingers talk about pitching and how Rock was asking him how he would work certain hitters. He was actually breaking down a Bryce Harper at bat and how he would pitch to Bryce Harper, and that's pretty cool when you think about it.
I was wondering if those guys just sit up there and think about that stuff. Ask Robin maybe how he would approach a certain pitcher. amazing. Back in Raleigh's day, there were years where teams would only break with 9 pitchers. Of course, that was the days when it was a 4-man rotation.
4 starters.
But still in all, I mean, 4 starters and 5 relievers. That was it. Imagine that today.
And there is a swing and a miss, and this ball game is over. And the Nationals pick up the victory. After getting swept in Detroit, Bryce Harper homers. Worth has 3 hits. And the Nationals back to winning ways as Jordan Zimmerman goes to 13-6. Soriano with his 27th save. A 4-1 final. As we check in with Craig Kashawn, it's time for Brewers Live. What do you have coming up, Craig?
Well, we have plenty. We're going to get inside the Brewer clubhouse, hear from Ron Reineke as we do each and every night after the ball game, and also our instructional on the way as well. We're going to get inside the hitting cage. So stay with us. Brewers Live post game on the way after game 1 in this series.